Welcome to Yerba Mate Talks.
Sorry about that. Welcome to the Aftershow. I am Max. That fairy thing was cut. And today we had a debate between 1stAmender and WifiGospel. I'm not muted anymore. On the topic of was Renee Good murdered by ICE? Let me share the link here. We'll pin it. And before we dive right in, make sure to do the social thing is like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and you'll subscribe to Yerba Mate Talks. And that way we can share the lab for the channel. Caca hands, you can go get yourself fucked right in the asshole. Nope. You are not coming on my show. Get like absolutely raggedy wrecked. Fucked. All right. Anyone else is free to come on in. This loser here is not coming on the show. All right. We have a bunch of people already. Have our friend John there. Hello. How you doing?
Very well. Yourself, Max?
I'm fantastic. It's summer. I live in Uruguay.
Fuck you. Wrong.
Yeah, you know, it's actually starting to feel just a little bit weird that we have, you know, the winter setting because I am sweating my balls off. I'm not wearing pants, so it's a little bit
Max, weird. Not helpful, man. You pushing me to identify with the flat earthers here. Your hemisphere doesn't fucking exist.
Yes, I agree. Oh, the man, the legend, the one, the only, the 1stAmender, Yellow.
Hello. Hold on, give me 1 second. Hold on.
Hang on. Just let me back up here for this one.
Okay.
Right, stick it in first. Right, there you go.
Just FYI, Caca Hans, you're not going to come on the show.
Let me use the bathroom real quick. Give me 1 quick second. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem. Mute yourself. Let me mute you because there was one time that we heard him pee. It was weird. And we have a Fudge Champion. Haven't seen you here before. Welcome.
What's good?
Everything is awesome, like the Lego movie says. Alrighty. We'll start with the show. We're going to talk about 1stAmender's opening, and I'm going to hand it over to John. Thoughts?
Yeah, obviously it was good to have the raw video footage, which was nice. It was actually quite janky on my end. Like it almost looked like it was a bunch of stills rather than actually being video. So I don't know if that was my broadband or if that was because of how it was being streamed to MDD and everybody else was the same. But I've seen a lot of the footage anyway, so I don't know if it actually distracted that much. It was more just sort of like a technical criticism. But I don't really agree with 1stAmender's conclusions based on the video. It did seem pretty clear that the ICE agent was struck by the vehicle. And whether he could have moved out of the way is the bit that's subject for debate, not whether he was actually hit. The significance of the strike really, from a legal point of view, seems to be kind of irrelevant. So to say it was a quote-unquote glancing blow, and the other thing that I would probably disagree with is 1stAmender made quite a big deal pointing out that his feet weren't in front of the vehicle at the time, but it was hard to tell because the other officers body was obscuring him, but it looked like he was leaning over the bonnet of the vehicle whilst it was moving.
What's
Like,
the
just 'cause
bonnet?
the front of the car, the hood.
Ah, the hood. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So if his body's over the hood of the vehicle and his feet are to the side of the vehicle, so what? Like, he's still being hit by the vehicle just because his feet aren't in front of it. I mean, his head is. I'd rather my feet.
So
do you know what I mean?
I personally do not believe that he got hit anywhere close to as hard as people seem to think he did. I think the reason why people believe that he got hit hard was because how shaky his camera footage was. But I think a more plausible explanation to the shakiness of his camera footage was the fact that he had fired 3 times, not because he had gotten hit that hard by the vehicle. Considering by the factor that the road itself was icy, he was holding his phone in one hand and in the other he had a gun. And he had fired 3 times, and by the time that he had fired the first shot, both of his feet were not in front of the vehicle, but now on the side of the vehicle, very clearly not getting hit. I think it is fair to say that he had gotten grazed, but I don't think that he had gotten hit all that hard.
So where I would disagree here, Amanda, is fine. I would not make the claim that this guy was clattered with the vehicle going at 25 miles an hour and he was. There's a difference between like the energy that's been transferred into a person because of the speed of an object and the energy that's been transferred into a person because of the mass of an object. Like there are other angles of the footage that show him being physically pushed backwards. You can see his feet sliding across the asphalt. Again, it's icy.
I never saw that in any footage.
I mean, I've literally, whilst the debate was going on, I've looked up angles of the footage where you can see him being pushed backwards.
If you have that video, I mean, I looked for lots and lots of footage. I never saw him getting pushed back.
It's real clear, especially when you slow it down and you can see him sliding backwards.
I'm telling you, the fact that I edited it as long as I did, it's very clear to me.
Basil says the New York Times video analysis shows he was not struck.
Mate, you can hear him bounce. You can hear him bounce off the bonnet in his footage.
He did not bounce on the hood.
You can physically hear the content.
All right. 1 second. Let's go to Fudge Champion. Thoughts on Amender's opening?
Hi, I came in a bit later, but I have a question for 1stAmender.
All right.
Can you imagine a circumstance where someone gets hit by a car and they don't fear for their life?
Yeah.
Could you tell me about that? Give me a hypothetical.
Well, like what we just saw regarding the ICE officer here.
I'd like a different example because I don't think that's good to use what we're dealing with. I want it in every day. If you're on your bicycle, go ahead.
Cars in park and you run into a vehicle,
and you run into the vehicle, so the vehicle's not hitting you, or
yeah.
But I don't think that's the same as what. Clearly, the vehicle hit him.
You're you're asking for a different scenario, and I'm giving you different scenarios. I don't know what you're asking.
Okay, that's fine.
The problem that I have is that he had made the decision to step in front of that vehicle. He did not have to do that, nor is it proper procedure to do that in any stretch of the imagination from any trained security officer of any kind. You just simply would not step in front of a vehicle to prevent it from leaving. You just wouldn't do that.
Do you think that, is that really something you're concerned about? Or did a lot of liberals have heard about this policy and now they're taking that as facially, he must be wrong because he violated the policy. And then they're conflating the policy with the law. So,
well, I went over the law in my intro. It is very clear that The only instance where you have a right to kill somebody is under the pretense that your life is in danger. But by the time he had fired his first shot, he was not in danger. And it can be shown that empirically in the video itself. It doesn't help that he put himself in that danger to begin with.
All right. Let me ask you, Amender, do you feel you accomplished what you set out to do with your opening?
I think so, yeah.
Awesome. Batman! Sorry, I had to do it. I haven't seen him in a long time. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic. Thoughts on Amender's
And Happy New Year to you, by the way, since that's also late.
Same to you and your family, my friend.
Thank you.
Thoughts on Amender's opening, please.
By the way, I just like to let the chat know I have a discussion with Jimmy Snow in the line about this. You can look that up. And I'm a frequent caller on the line.
Okay. If you want to share the link with the timestamp to me on the private chat, I'll share it to the rest of the audience. Batman, go ahead.
If we're just basically going to be talking about the sort of normal process, we're talking about the intros and stuff.
Yes.
I was already pretty late, so you can go ahead and skip me for the most part.
No problem. All right.
When you get around to it, Max, I think I've got a video clip that shows the ice agent physically being pushed backwards on the ice for 1stAmender. So when
you got it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. We'll do Isa, this person here, other, and then we can watch that. All right, Isa, welcome.
Yo, what's up?
Doing awesome.
So we're talking about openings. Is that what we're discussing?
Yes.
Well, I actually was on David Wood's channel, so I didn't really get to. We were talking about my debate.
Intro.
Huh?
Nobody saw my intro. It was so good.
I saw. My favorite part was when you pronounced Yerba Mate Talks. That you
Can
said
I
correctly. I was like, oh,
Hold
you
on.
got that Latino vibe, bro.
Can I just play it's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes. Can I just play it? Because it is a good video.
Yeah, let's do this. We will give other his let Isa finish his he didn't see the opening, sorry. We'll give other his chance to give his thoughts on the opening, and we'll play both videos. We'll play yours, Amender, and here it won't be choppy at all.
No.
And we'll play John's. Other, welcome. Haven't been around. Welcome to the show. Give us your thoughts on Amender's opening, please. Hello? Yeah, you are muted.
Oh.
There you go. Oh, okay. I guess not. All right, Amender, if you want to play that, the share button is in the middle.
I'm playing it again because I don't know. I think it's a very good video, and
yeah, and it was choppy as hell.
Yeah, I would like to see it, to be fair, because it was like through the MDD medium, whatever was going on, it was janky as fuck. So
yes,
that sucks. All right, so we're gonna play it one more time.
Daniel says Max's accent and intonation always makes me think he's Italian, but yeah, I'm from Uruguay.
All right,
I can confirm he's not one of my people.
Real quick.
No, and if you want to get like technical, I have Spanish and French heritage. I actually have Spanish.
Do you see it?
French.
Is it working?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. So we're just gonna play it. Here we go. Ready?
Did you enable the sound?
What is it?
Did you enable the sound?
Is that something I have to do here as well?
Yep.
Oh my god.
I gotta bring up, by the way, for whatever reason, every other channel I've been into for the past like 2-3 days, they've all had issues with the audio.
It's because of the way it.
Yeah, because when you share, you need to
there you go.
Select.
There you go. There you go.
Right there. Perfect.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. At the beginning of the clip, we can observe Renee Good blocking traffic, likely protesting ICE presence. We will be pausing during key points of various clips found to understand the full context of the evidence, be it showing the ICE officer's potential innocence or guilt in the matter. The ICE officer has given a lawful order to get out of the vehicle to potentially investigate citizenship status of Renee Good. Renee has a responsibility to stop the vehicle and step out. Renee Good does not perform this, making her next set of actions illegal in the eyes of the law. The officer in question, Jonathan Ross, not the officer actively trying to open the door to Renee Good's vehicle, can be seen in front of the vehicle and is currently midway into pulling his firearm out while recording with his phone from his left hand. Here we can see Jonathan Ross having fired his first shot at Renee Good, which we now know as having been the shot to kill her, as the vehicle had been put in drive and then began moving forward and to the right. However, by looking closely at the footage, by the time the first shot had been fired, we can observe that Jonathan Ross's feet both firmly planted alongside the vehicle, preventing any chance of Jonathan Ross's life being threatened to warrant such an action. Here we can observe a second and a third shot fired as the car began to veer off to the right, clearly out of Jonathan Ross's way. If he wasn't safe enough from being run over by Renee Good, he certainly was now that he had been firing at a fleeing vehicle. Here in a separate angle, we can observe the car moving forward and to the right while we see Jonathan Ross's feet once again planted alongside of the vehicle by the time the first shot had been fired. The words, "That's fine, dude, I'm not mad at you," are the last words Renee Good made before tragically losing her life to Jonathan Ross.
That's okay, we don't change our plates every morning, just so you know.
Jonathan Ross having diligently recorded the license plate of Renee Good, which, under different circumstance, would be used to find Renee's address and submit a court order for fleeing the scene and blocking traffic in the state of Minnesota. However, this ultimately does not happen due to the actions of Jonathan Ross took upon himself that day.
It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking president. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the
Jonathan Ross, in observing the vehicle having been taken out of park and put in reverse, had decided to place his body in front of the vehicle to block her from leaving. This is around the same time he also, while recording on his phone, never once losing control of the phone in his left hand, reached for his gun on the right, likely to scare Renee Good from leaving. Here we can observe Renee Good clearly making an effort to turn her car to the right away from the ICE officer and her partner telling her to drive, baby, drive.
Whoa!
In Minnesota Statute 609.06, authorized use of force, a person including private citizens and peace officers may use reasonable force when they reasonably believe that it is necessary under certain circumstances, such as resisting an offense against themselves or another, or assisting in lawful arrest. Minnesota recognizes deadly force, example such as shooting a firearm at someone, a force that is intended or that the actor should reasonably know creates a substantial risk of death or of great bodily harm. The taking of life or use of deadly force is only justified when it is necessary to resist or prevent an offense that the actor reasonably believes exposes themselves or another to great bodily harm or death. Should Jonathan Ross consult an attorney, the attorney would likely instruct Jonathan to state clearly that he felt his life was in danger and that he had no other option but to shoot. However, due to the actions of Jonathan Ross, the fact that he placed himself in a precarious situation, he held a phone and never lost control of the phone in fear of his life, and that he had fired multiple shots despite having been away from the face of danger, as can be seen in the footage, leaves me no other choice but to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Jonathan Ross is guilty of murder of Renee Good. There you go. There's my intro.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we got it like the actual thing. We could see it very clearly. What caught my attention, John, if you want to get ready to share yours.
Yeah, so that
what
was
caught my attention.
Much clearer. The MDD version was terrible. That was silky smooth.
Amender, that you didn't bring up the fact that immediately after on the guy's recording, he goes like "fucking bitch."
The reason why I did not.
Is there really an issue with that?
Yeah, I didn't consider it relevant in the same way that I didn't consider the partner making fun of him for being fat.
Well, go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Oh.
Yeah, I just didn't see it as really relevant to the topic. I guess is she guilty of murder?
Car, yeah, you're gonna say something, even if it's a graze, which is less than what actually happened to him. But
also, it's the adrenaline, and like rightly or wrongly, even if you perceived yourself as being in like a dangerous situation, like he may at that second he doesn't know where his rounds have necessarily landed.
Well, the problem is like if you reasonably perceive that danger, I don't imagine that anybody would reasonably be spending their time holding their phone and recording. Normally when somebody believes that they're genuinely in danger, that they're going to die, you're not
Amender,
holding your phone up to record.
That's literally what everybody with a camera does.
That's the thing. I wonder why was he holding a phone and not his body cam? Don't have body cams?
Body cams.
He doesn't have body cams.
Don't go to that kind of range because they're basically on the vest like that anyway.
He doesn't have.
He's going to have.
There's no body cams on ICE.
Also, I think
even in general, he did have one. I don't know whether or not he did, but that's why he would end up doing that.
He was on his second. He was on his second loop around the vehicle at the time. Like you can see he'd already been around the rear of the vehicle, around the front of the vehicle, and then went around again. From what I understand, he might have been on his second loop round, recording. But more importantly, like. You don't. There are generally two ways that people react. They either tend to drop shit, like everything, gun included, and dive out of the way, or they try and grip hold of everything. They scoop everything to them. Like you're trying to say, well, why was he worried about holding his phone if his life's in danger? Like, how the fuck would you know how? But why is it more rational to throw the phone away from you than it is to not throw you're not necessarily a rational agent in that moment.
So here's the thing. If I'm holding the phone and you feel like that you're in danger from a vehicle moving towards you, your options are get out the way. That's the option. The option is if you fear for your life of a vehicle going to strike you, your priority is not, I got to have this in frame. Your priority is get out the, and normally if you are trying to get up and walk and get out the way, you're probably using your arms to do something like this that assists you in getting away.
Did you notice in the footage, man?
Like, why would he? The footage shook. The footage shook because he fired his gun. That's why he. And also, just FYI, it is not reasonable to assume that the vehicle would stop just because you just killed the person.
Amanda, it didn't just shake though, did it? It's not like he kept her in frame the whole time and it just shakes because of recoil. The camera didn't go back and up. The camera went down and to the side as he's putting his hands down in order to stabilize himself.
And hell, this guy, he didn't even lose balance on an icy road. How much danger was he really in?
So here's it's an icy road. The vehicle is going from being in reverse. I mean, firstly, it's a 2.2 ton vehicle. It's going from being in reverse to going forwards. Now, if you notice, the wheels didn't lose traction when she put it in reverse and she rolled backwards, right? Now, in most vehicles, the reverse gear and the first gear are actually the same gear. The reason that your vehicle makes that whirring noise when it goes, yes, they are. Yes, they are, 1stAmender, because the reason that it makes the whirring noise when you reverse is because it's square cut on one side and it's chamfered on the other. It's the same gear. Not necessarily the case in all automatic vehicles, but the reverse and the first gear are the same gear in most vehicles. Now, you'll notice that the vehicle didn't lose traction on the road when she was reversing, but it did lose traction on the road when she put it into drive and she slammed her foot into the fucking carpet. And it lost traction when it span forward.
So, out of curiosity, everybody here thinks that the ICE officer was entirely justified in killing Renee Good,
as does the law.
No, I don't think so. I think what you said, like they had their license plate, just let it go.
You let them go.
Give them extra charges.
What do you mean let them go?
My position is actually
why put yourself into danger?
Why put yourself in the middle of the street blocking traffic and especially preventing ICE from doing their job? If she hadn't been doing that,
I'm not justifying that.
Would she?
I'm not making an argument justifying that action. She made bad actions as well. That doesn't mean, therefore, the bad action should result in the death of her. It doesn't make any sense.
The life of a law enforcement
the officer is trained to avoid putting himself into potential danger. It is not reasonable to have an ICE officer go in front of a vehicle that is not in neutral or park. It is not reasonable. And it is also not reasonable to assume that the vehicle would stop just because you shot the person driving. It's not a video game where it just magically stops the vehicle. No, the vehicle actually would accelerate.
Well,
and anybody who's a trained officer would know that.
Hold on, I'm going to let Batman go.
Okay, so first of all, if you're going to talk about that in video games, we all shoot the driver, even if a car is driving at us, regardless whether or not it's going to hit us. Secondly, that doesn't justify driving your vehicle into an officer, which she did reverse, turn the vehicle, when she was told, by the way, get out of the vehicle. And when she was told that, she was detained. And immediately when that point is when he started reacting to it, going, oh, okay, now she's going to be like, now she's backing up. Officers are telling her to get out of the vehicle. Okay. And then she goes forward. And it isn't even until she sees
I'll be right with you, officer. I'm just going to run this asshole over.
John, are you going to share that video?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, it's right here. How do I? So can I share screen?
Yep.
Share screen. Do not share these tips again. Yeah, I don't care about any of that. Select tab to share. There we go. Okay, share. So, am I visible? There we go. Oh fuck! This is going to be max. No. There we go.
Make it full screen.
I just tried making it full screen and it wasn't happy about that. Continue. There we go. That's better. So if we come back to that, yeah, there we go. Can you guys see that now? Can you?
Yep.
Okay. So either the guy's doing the fucking Macarena, like an epic moonwalk here, or like he's physically sliding backwards in the street. His feet are together at this point. Like,
what?
We're looking at this from a fixed position, right? Look, let's do it again.
It was choppy.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. But one sec. Is
that one choppy or slow motion?
It's slow motion. See, the heels are moving backwards. Both of them. They're sliding on the tarmac. The vehicle in front is stationary, right? So if you use that as your datum for movement, he's not just moving his feet together.
Can you send that link so I can look at it?
Yeah.
You've seen that clip before, haven't you?
Lord, no, I've seen this all.
I had it, but it was not
no,
in high res.
I'll stick it in the private chat.
All
Lord
right.
knows where it's from. I literally just Googled it.
And also, just FYI, right? Once again, putting your hands on the car to get it to stop, also not procedure. You would never do this.
But
You would never, as a trained officer, do this
Yeah,
ever.
you don't put your hands
I
on the
just
vehicle.
pull up into the
Wait,
field
what?
position and let the vehicle roll over me. Of course, you try.
No,
and
you
find-
get out the way. You step out of the way.
But you realize
That's
we're
what you
talking
would
about-
do as an
we're talking
officer.
about-
Step
look, the
away.
Human reaction time in low stress situations.
No,
Is
you're
100
not just a regular. You're not just a regular civilian.
So he's Superman.
You're a
Right,
trained
okay.
officer.
So judging
You
by
are
the
not
standards of
at any
Superman-
point. You are not at any point trained to step in front of a vehicle to prevent it from leaving. You never
he didn't
do
do
that. No officer would ever. Yes, he did. He did. He did exactly
it's leaving
that.
backwards.
He
It's
put
in
himself
reverse.
into that position.
He
It's in
did not
reverse. You
put
gotta go
himself into
front
that
reverse.
position. The
Yes,
vehicle
he
wasn't
did.
even the same place
All
when
right,
he was in that position. You can literally see the tape from all the angles. Even
I
ones from the other
showed
side of the street.
I showed very clearly exactly what happened, and even my opponent acknowledged this.
I don't care.
If you
Did
are
see
saying
all three
that it
videos?
is wrong, if you are saying that it is wrong, then I simply have to say we
it
agree to
doesn't matter whether or
disagree.
not the opponent was
You're
right.
living in fantasy world. You're in fantasy world.
First
I don't know
Amender.
what to tell you.
Have you seen all three videos? There's one video
Yes,
from
I
across
saw
the street
all
as
three
well.
videos. Not only did I see all three videos, but I'm sitting here doing painstaking editing. I've watched it a dozen times by now. I've watched it more than you. I promise you that.
You haven't.
So,
And
and
even
then
if you have,
you're
and you still
sitting
come
there
to the wrong
telling
conclusion,
me,
that's a you problem.
if that happened, all right. I mean, it's clear
First
to me
Amender.
that there's
Give me-
no way
give
I'm
me a
going to
mo-
convince you.
Let's
It's clear to me.
continue with.
May I ask you some general questions on immigration?
Not right now. When we open it up for the open discussion and so on, save them and you'll get to ask those a little bit later. Now, Wi-Fi Gospel's opening. What did you think, Amender?
I thought Wi-Fi Gospel's opening was very it was long. He didn't have anything what appeared to be prepared. I think he was just kind of going through a laundry list of stuff. He even listed some things that actually argue against his point, not in favor of his point. Having listed his the core holding of Tennessee versus Garner in 1985. Where I pointed out that, and he acted as if, hey, this Tennessee versus Garner, it argues in my favor, but police, it specifically states in Tennessee versus Garner that police may not use deadly force to stop a fleeing suspect unless the officer has probable cause to believe the suspect poses a significant threat of death or serious physical injury to the officer or others. By the time he fired his first shot, he was already out of the way. The one thing that would prevent somebody from getting hit with a vehicle is not shooting the person, but rather getting out of the way. And when he had fired that first shot, he was indeed out of the way. And it could be shown in multiple angles that that's exactly what happened.
All right. Thank you so much. Basil for $5. Thank you so much. Says, cheers to Amender. Can't believe the other fascists on the panel are defending the shooting of a woman involved in a traffic infraction.
Appreciate it.
I defend it.
I don't know if they're fascists, though. I wouldn't.
I love how I'm a fascist because we're having a disagreement about whether a person was hit by a vehicle in some footage that is genuinely ambiguous. I'm not calling First Amendment delusional here.
It's Basil. You gotta roll with it, but don't take it too personally.
Oh no, Max.
But that's the exact.
And mind you, I'm not saying anybody here is a fascist. I mean, we can have the disagreement if we want. That's perfectly fine. I don't think any of you are fascists unless you show me that you're indeed a fascist, I guess.
You have literally no reason to accuse us of being fascists, even if we support law enforcement. I mean,
he's
you guys would
rage
support-
baiting you, and you're falling for it.
No, to be fair though, yeah. To be fair though, that is actually the kind of narrative though that has got people to fight ICE and police officers like they really have anyway.
I mean, do you believe Renee Good was fighting ICE here?
Yeah,
Yes,
was she
yes.
preventing them from
No,
doing
I'm
stuff?
not mad at you, dude, while smiling. It's a very
That's not fighting.
intimidating
That's-
and
yeah.
threatening stance.
That's not
Li-
fighting ICE.
Look at me. Look at me. If I tell you, I'm not mad at you, dude, that is very threatening. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are women who do play that game too.
Well, yeah, of course. But the lady who she was with, and I don't know what the deal is with the relationship, whether they were a couple, whether they're friends. It seems ambiguous from the reporting. I don't know what the hell's going on with it. So I'm just going to say her friend, not because I have a problem with the relationship. If it turns out they're in a lesbian relationship, that's fine. I don't give a shit. But there seems to be some footage from like interviews where she's going that they were part of some group that had received training on how to resist ICE and stuff like that. Like how true that is, I don't know. There's a lot being made that she just dropped her kid off at school.
So
there's also statements that she was intentionally trying to get in the way of the ICE vehicles.
So we live in the United States, and you have a right to address grievances against your government. The fact that it is a constitutional right to be able to do so. Do you have a right, therefore, to obstruct justice? No, you don't. Does that mean that Renee Good deserved to die because that she was obstructing justice? Absolutely not.
That's not the claim, is it? You've skipped over the whole middle part.
You didn't make a claim.
No. But what I'm saying is that the claim.
But you didn't make a claim. You just said
no. So you've assumed a claim on my part by making that statement. Like you're essentially saying.
I didn't assume you made a claim whatsoever.
Well, then why go? She didn't deserve to be killed because she was obstructing ICE.
I'm telling you what I think.
But I agree with you. I think we all agree with you. She didn't deserve to be shot in the head because she disagreed with ICE and was being a pain in the ass. That's not in question. No point has that ever been in question in the debate we've just watched.
Okay.
That you argued or here right now. So why state it unless you're trying to go?
Well, on top of it, for example, I hearing what my opponent had said, he stated Renee Good got what she deserved. Does anybody here agree with that position? Fat Ghost Boo just subscribed. Thank you for the subscription, Fat Ghost. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
If you'd like another way of putting it, if you fuck around, you find out.
All right, hold on.
If you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
That wasn't my question. My opponent had stated Renee Good got what she deserved. Does anybody here agree with that statement? That she got what she deserved?
Nope.
No, I don't think she deserved to be shot in the head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate
but if you do fuck around, you do find out. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Her own father even said to, like,
unless
was wrong.
Unless you are the president of Honduras.
I think that there's a great deal of response. Sorry, go ahead.
You find out unless you're the president of Honduras, convicted of one of the biggest drug trafficking rings in Honduras and the U.S., and then you get pardoned for some reason.
I guess
that's not that bad because Americans do need to have their cocaine. I mean, the U.S. does run on cocaine.
Does Honduras also take their presidents to go?
We're not outlawing hypocrisy here. Let's be honest.
I think that there's a great deal of responsibility that needs to be held on behalf of the ICE officer. The ICE officer has much more responsibility than on behalf of an unprofessional protester, and there is a presumption that if you are a trained officer, I would imagine, considering that you have been an ICE officer for over 10 years, that you would likely be aware to not step in front of vehicles to prevent them from leaving. I mean, I have not done any, I would not have done any officer training whatsoever. That's just obvious. There is no manual that's going to say, hey, if a car is about to leave, make sure you step in front of it in order to prevent them from leaving. That's incredibly dangerous. You as a rational human being should not be doing that.
Stop it. You can stop it if you're really, really strong.
If you're really good, yeah.
But firstly,
you're like Goku.
At no point is anybody making the argument that police officers think they're going to be like chocks under the wheel and they're somehow magically going to stop a 2.5-ton vehicle. That's clearly not the case. But the vehicle was reversing. The officer was in clear view of the person who was driving the vehicle. Now, at the point at which the woman was shot, now, in part, at least, I would say the officer was in front of the vehicle, because you can physically see, like, you can see the emblem, like, you can see the fucking brand of the vehicle in the video when she starts rolling forwards, and then you hear him thump the vehicle and the gunshot. Like, I don't know what else you need to know that there was physical contact with the vehicle. Like, that seems.
So, I mean, I'm willing to acknowledge that
significant contact, fine. It might not have been that significant, but the guy had his gun in his hand. It's a 2.5-ton vehicle. Now, from a legal point of view, that's kind of like discussion over. Now, you can make the argument about the follow-up 2/3 shots, but they occurred, all of the gunshots occurred in like the whole vehicle revving up, rolling forward, him being hit, and the 3 shots took place in 2 seconds or so, but the string of 3 or 4 shots was less than a second. Human reaction time is about 200 milliseconds, so 0.2 of a second, in ideal circumstances. These were not ideal circumstances. You can't separate and say, oh, circumstances changed in like a fraction of a second. He should have been able to react to that. Your standard for what constitutes reasonable behavior with regards to changing circumstance is fucking insane. That's not reasonable at all.
I showed empirically, again, it doesn't require reaction time. I showed empirically that
whenever I can.
Yes, give me one moment, because we have other and how do you pronounce that? Leia
Bobega.
Leia Bobega. Okay. Leah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I wanted to before we continue with the open discussion portion, I wanted to bring this up because, and I don't know how the hell you didn't catch this, Amender. This guy, he actually doesn't put himself in the in front of the why isn't this fucking playing? Someone has noise on their mic. Let me mute it. There we go. Fuck. Freaking hell, what is happening? There we go. Okay. Here, and then when the guy unloads the clip, like here, when the guy starts unloading the clip, this guy shouldn't have started shooting. He's in the middle of a residential area, aiming at a car that is moving.
Yeah.
And there's like windows, houses, shit all over there. What if someone was running and got hit? Like, this does like completely undermine the WifiGospel's argument, because this was an insecure discharge of a firearm, to my uninformed opinion. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
This doesn't make his case. This person, it's the same thing. Get the license plate. Go use the power of investigation of the police.
There's always someone.
I'm sorry.
So, but what you're asking for here is perfection, right?
No.
The what?
Well, what you're asking for here is perfection.
Sorry, I was trying not to interrupt.
Yeah, sorry.
John,
no, I don't think anybody is asking for perfection. Max is not expecting perfection, and neither am I.
No, but if you're pointing at something that is fucking moving, with a window and doors to houses and a parking lot that is really full. Like this, to me, this is extremely insecure discharge of a firearm, and I don't know why.
But that's not how that works, though.
With that video, when was the first shot fired? Because it looks to me like
when it goes past him, but you see he's on the way. He sees it moving, and he immediately moves away. Because you don't stop a car with your body. You don't.
Well, you don't stop a car with your body, and you also can't. And you also can't stop a car just because you killed the person driving.
Hold on.
Cars don't stop just because you killed the person driving.
Hold on. First of all, he wasn't trying to stop the vehicle. I don't know why we're even making that argument.
Then why are you killing them?
Then why are you shooting?
Hold on. And if you're trying to make that comparison, he had a lot more distance in that video from that vehicle than Jonathan Ross ended up having with the vehicle that was literally in front of him.
This is more reason why you shouldn't be shooting.
What do you mean it's not reason why you shouldn't have been shooting?
This is more reason why you should not be shooting.
Hold on.
Shooting is not going to magically stop them. There's no reason.
Did she threaten his bodily autonomy?
Yes.
Did she threaten his body and his life?
Yes.
Okay. So are you saying then that he doesn't have the right to defend himself?
But at what?
He would not be defending himself by doing that.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not, because if you shot somebody, it wouldn't cause them to slow down. If anything, it would only cause them to speed up.
It would have caused them to slow down. She definitely did, didn't she?
She did not. She literally sped up after she died.
Into that vehicle.
Yes, she sped up. She continued going forward,
and she wasn't
even though she was dead.
Was she?
There's probably some kind of
because you just turned a human being into a brick.
You have a foot in the gas.
So it's okay to try and run him over.
You have a foot in the gas. You die.
No, who is arguing that it's okay to run them over? I'm saying it is not reasonable to assume that if you shoot them, that all of a sudden you're now in the clear, you're safe. You're not safe just because you killed them.
Yes, Lee, go ahead.
If I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes? Hello? Dead air?
Wait.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
He shouldn't have.
Please start speaking now.
There's actually this theory. I sent a video in the private chat. There's this guy that actually kind of does this kind of a thing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on.
Would that by chance be Nate the lawyer's video?
Okay. I don't know if I'm behind or what's going on. This guy investigates things like this for the police, right? And so he knows. No, but Nate the lawyer is really good. I think I might have made a post about his as well. This guy is the real someone. I've linked it here. But he not only law,
yeah, and by the way, Nate the lawyer is a hardcore right-wing shill. So it's not really super
well, you think
great.
everybody further right than
did you or did
Bernie
you not see the
is
video?
Far right.
Nate, I'm saying Nate the
anyway.
Nate the
That's
Nate the
not what I'm
lawyer.
asking. Don't engage in character assassination.
Yes,
you
I
or
did.
Did you not watch the video?
Yes, I did.
So you're aware of the laws that he actually did bring up, as well as the cases he introduced.
I mean, I didn't look it into detail, but I did watch his video.
So you were watching and paying attention then when he even described how when you threatened
I listened to it. I don't know what is this a character assassination?
I'm asking you whether or not you watched the video. If you want to try and use those same words, you better understand what they mean.
Hold on. Let me share the link.
You haven't changed at all, Batman, and I'm really glad I'm not on modern day debate anymore. Talking to people.
I'm a right-wing shill, but I agree with First Amender on things like gay marriage and stuff like that. So, yeah, I assume because I'm a right-wing shill, I'm just wrong about that as well, right?
I'm just saying, like, if you're going to go with, with a lawyer where they, it's very clear that they're very pro ICE, very pro Trump, very, very pro whatever is happening in the right-wing establishment. Of course, Nate is going to argue from that lens.
I'm not even talking about Nate.
It's
Amender. Wait a second. I was like,
Fair enough.
starting
I'm
and
just
stopping
saying.
and
I'm just
starting
saying.
and
Like
stopping
I'm
because
getting.
I had something playing in the background, and so I was like, really, it's fucking. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. It wasn't Nate. I know what you're talking about. The video. It's not him. It's a different guy. It's a black guy. It's in the. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is,
Yeah, I
he
shared
explained.
it too here.
I was going off of. Thank you. I appreciate that. Somebody had just brought up about the 3 shots, and he actually shared a very possible. I won't go as far as to say probable. Possibility, and anybody that's trained with firearms knows that this could be quite possible in the fact that the last 2 shots very well could have not been an intentional discharge of this firearm. I don't know if you've ever heard of this phenomenon. It's called double tapping the trigger, and people who train for a very long time with firearms, like he was a firearms instructor, you might know this, and had trained for many, many years with them, eventually they learn to be able to, they call it double tap, which means you basically hit that wall of reset so quick, it's like a double shot. You hit it so soon.
But it wasn't 2 shots; it was 3.
When you're talking
right. That's what I'm saying. He's saying his also being an expert in firearms himself, this guy that broke it down, he believes that the last 2 shots were accidental. He was knocked off balance and he accidentally.
Probably panicking too in that. But
although the
I have a
first one
question
was
just
still
really quickly.
intentional.
Did they actually call it double tapping? Because it means something different.
No.
Yeah.
No. They they call it that. That's what he called it. I'm not sure.
I mean, maybe,
It's
but the problem that I'm having is even by the first shot, he was already out of the way. There is no reason.
Yeah, I don't see that in the video.
order to defend.
I
No,
disagree.
it is there. I showed it multiple times.
And
everybody saw it.
The first shot
I would
went
really
through the
like
window.
for you to watch this video that I've also linked, because he actually shows the way that he breaks it down, and he has it from 3 different angles. He shows that it's like he's drawn.
I did also show it from multiple angles. The first shot is fired when he is off to the side.
Yeah, I was there.
It's through the windscreen.
You know what?
And it's like he is pulling his gun at the same time as she's pushing. It's like he was seeing something in her where he knew, you know, but it's not like he had 10 minutes to react. Everybody keeps saying, why didn't you just step out of the way? And I feel like we've all watched this in slow motion so many times. Y'all are really forgetting that this happened in less than 7 seconds. All of it.
Well,
the entire exchange.
So the way to, well, number one, a trained officer should never be in, he should have never have put himself into that.
How much do you know about training? How much do you really know about training?
I mean,
can you
I know
tell me
for a
anything
fact
about
that
training
that's not-
for ICE?
No, you don't.
Enforcement? Tell me something. Anything about training for ICE agents?
1stAmender, what are your credentials?
Really?
I mean, we can talk about the specific of training and so on, but let's think about it from the point of view of a human versus a giant box of metal that weighs a lot. Why?
Right.
Why would you put yourself in front of it for any kind of a reason?
He didn't intentionally do that. Once again, it's not like he was lingering. This is something I said earlier. He literally walked around the entire SUV as he was recording, and he had words with the wife, right? And then he heard his partner giving her orders to exit, and so he was making his way to his partner. He wasn't just standing in front of the car. I don't know why everybody keeps acting like he was just
wrong.
hanging out.
He stepped in the middle of the vehicle, and he actually made a conceded step toward the vehicle prior to it driving forward. It was only until it began driving forward that he moved off to the side. I proved this to my opponent, and my opponent conceded this because he saw it
I would call
himself.
it a concession.
That doesn't make
But
your.
He literally did. He did. Leah,
I'm gonna give
stop.
it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you.
Basic fact thing. This is empirically shown.
Would you hit an ICE agent? Yes or no? Would you drive into an ICE agent? Simple yes or no. Would you hit an
No.
ICE agent with your car?
I would not hit an ICE
If
agent.
an officer is in front of your car and he's telling you to get out of the car, what do
I
you
would
do?
not. I would not drive forward. I'm not saying that what she
Right.
did was the correct action. That's not
not
what I
even
said.
I'm
That's
saying.
not what I'm arguing.
I'm saying, don't you think he would think that if he were to point a gun at her and tell her to get out of the car, don't you think he would think she would just comply? Do you
I'm
think he
simply
thought she
pushing
was going to hit him?
I'm simply pushing back against the idea that he was walking towards his car. That's not true. He
Not
stood
toward his
in front
car.
of the, he stood in the middle, and he even made a conceded step toward the vehicle. It was only until it was put in drive that he moved out of the way, and then he fired. I showed this in the video. It is there. You can see it for yourself.
How does that contend with my point at all?
Let me remind, this is the video that she shared to us, and I just came across to kind of balance things out. Legal, which is leans to the left, also has another video, so you can get you can watch both sides.
Yeah,
yes.
You can with what Leah was talking about.
Can you guys? I need to go to the toilet for just 1 second. Can you guys behave?
We'll try, Max.
I'll do my best.
Don't let's not fall into anarchy. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
With what you're talking about with I don't think what you would call a double tap would be shooting somebody twice in the head with intent. There's also something called Mozambique, which would be shooting them in the chest and the head to ensure.
Oh no, it was accidental. Is my
yeah. So it has different names. I'm not sure if it's the same in the US as it is in the UK, but in the UK with firearms training, it's sympathetic firing. So it would never happen with a bolt action rifle, but it can happen with semi-automatic weapons where if you don't have a proper grip on the weapon, where the recoil from the rifle, the gas discharge from the rifle causes the rifle or the firearm to rechamber the next round, reset the trigger. And if you don't have a firm grip, you can accidentally press the trigger again, which can then discharge another round and then set the whole process going again. It's usually because somebody has piss poor training and they're not gripping the rifle correctly or firearm. So I say rifle because I only have rifles and that's all I'm trained to shoot with. We're not allowed pistols in the UK.
I don't think we're talking about the same thing. I misunderstood what you meant before. I thought you were asking me if I meant it was intentional, as in he intentionally double tapped the trigger in that scenario, in which case I'm saying no. The double tap itself is meant to be intentional. People train for years to be able to do that.
Yeah, so I think it was instinct. I think he perceived the reason that the second shots followed up, even though I concede 1stAmender's point here, like the second and the third shot, as best as I can tell, the officer absolutely was not in the path of the vehicle at that point in time. But the shots were so close together that to separate them, we're talking fractions of a second. And I just think it was instinct. It was bang, bang, bang. It was.
But he was out of the way.
And 3-round shots are the man.
On the first shot, he was out of the way. There was zero reason to shoot. Shooting wasn't going to magically make him safe.
If he was out of the way, he wouldn't have had internal bleeding, and you wouldn't see the footage of him being knocked back.
First of all,
he's not going to accept the truth.
The reports of the quote unquote internal bleeding came directly from ICE, and on top of the fact he was discharged within the day. Bullshit. I call it bullshit.
Do you think that a political
the agent was discharged?
1 second. Let's let Fudge Champions. He's been waiting patiently. Go ahead.
1stAmender, do you think a political climate where the left is referring to ICE as Nazis and illegitimate, and the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota are calling them illegitimate is going to stir hostility and make them feel a threat for their lives?
Yes.
Also completely irrelevant.
So you concede it's the radical left's fault that Renee Good is dead.
That has to do with their mindset, John. Actually, I disagree with what you're saying. I disagree with you.
I love it when you say the radical left. You don't have the left in the US, for fuck's sake. You just don't. They are left of right. But they're
no.
Wait.
Do you not acknowledge that there's a radical left? Do you not acknowledge there is a radical left?
Hey, Max, I'll be honest with you.
I'm an actual communist.
Okay. Normally,
you don't have the left
that's
in the
radical.
US.
So Max, I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, it appears that like whatever is happening here, rather than actually addressing the topic, instead what it is just more of the same kind of right-wing rhetoric, considering that I'm getting questions from Fudge Champion and Batman and Leah. I'll be honest with you. Can you shut the fuck up for a second? Just shut up.
Mr. Feminist.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Good Lord, I know.
Just be quiet for a second.
Let's all
so
relax.
Max, so Max, I'll be honest. I don't want to tolerate this any longer. I'm just going to head out.
All right.
You know, I want to have a calm debate, not whatever the fuck this is. Have a good day.
You're being called out.
Hey, bud.
Bye.
Yeah, he can't handle it.
Tapped out.
Okay, this is what I was trying to say. I'm not saying everyone left of Trump is radical. I have many people in my life, friends, even family, who are liberal. That's fine. I was a lifelong liberal until a few years ago myself. But there does exist a radical left who has been telling people for a year now to attack ICE agents. Anyone who denies that is either willfully ignorant or intentionally lying. I literally just did a report on it. I can send you my sources. Like, it's been happening. And I'm not talking about pundits. I mean politicians, mayors, sheriffs.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with what I said. I just find it adorable, extremely adorable, when you guys in the US talk about the radical left, when those people are so to the right of me that it's insane. I don't have any idea how you consider them the left.
I think you're talking about in terms of economic policy, maybe.
Max is a card-carrying Fabian.
Well, I can't speak to how left you are. I have not met you.
In terms of racial,
I was given this link. I haven't met you. I'm not sure how left you are. I just know that I see a pattern.
I'm all the way to the left. I'm not radical, but I'm all the way to the left. I am an actual communist.
Max, if I may speak.
Hang on, careful, Max. Careful. So, Max, my perception of Max as a person who is on the right is that Max is a Fabian in that he wants to bring about communist ideals through, ideally, the democratic process.
Yeah.
So that would be a Fabian. To say that you are an extreme left communist to a person on the right is somebody who wants to kick down the doors of private businesses and seize them using military force, which
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with.
No.
So I would
kill 1 million babies a year, trans all the kids, etc.
Oh, that's adorable.
Oh, okay.
Max, in terms of economic left,
maybe
I might
we
agree
can set
with
up
you,
another
but
debate for that.
in terms of social leftism, I mean, that's very rampant in the United States. I would disagree. In terms of economics,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's what you call
that's exactly
woke, right?
Yeah, the woke. Yeah, exactly. And this is my entire point. And I've been trying. I literally was talking to 1stAmender earlier, or 1stAmender in his chat earlier. Very nice. I don't know why he acts like I'm a raging bitch. I think I'm fine most of the time. But I told him the law. I gave him the law. It's USC 1357, parts A, B, A, and A, B, B. Subsections. Those are literally the laws that give ICE permission to arrest citizens who either commit a crime in front of them or obstruct their legal business. Everybody is saying ICE can't detain American citizens, like that's actually a fact, and it's not. They have clear legal grounds to do so. And fun fact, they've been doing it for decades. So I said this to him earlier in his chat, and he got real big mad about it. And I guess he's still a little bit upset about it. But my point is that the radical left has been telling people for a year to attack ICE. This is on them.
Well, the thing is that previous experience obviously always plays a part in how people react to circumstances. So obviously 1stAmender was, and I would have loved to have discussed it with him, but obviously he's left. But 1stAmender was waxing lyrical about like the training of ICE agents, and the guy had 10 years experience on the force, etc. If that's relevant, then surely what you're saying should be relevant as well, or none of it is. Previous experience matters, including training, or it doesn't. And this guy, within the last 6 months, was dragged 100 yards down a road and needed 32 sticks. I think from the medical reports previously, his brachial artery was exposed. He was like fractions
he needed
of an
33
inch
stitches.
Yeah, bleeding to death on the side of the street because he was dragged down the road while stood at the side of a vehicle. He was reaching into a vehicle from the side in order to try and effect a stop, and he was dragged down the road.
Thank God, someone with common sense.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you're not like being stood to the side, especially when, as I stated before, fine, we could see his feet, but holding he's bouncing off the bonnet whilst holding his camera in hand. Like, he was hit. End of discussion. Like, if 1stAmender can't see it, he can't see it. for whatever reason.
He's not going to admit.
I think the thing that I found compelling that WifiGospel said, that this is a clear case of we're all looking at the same thing and we're just getting different info based on our own internal processes of our own internal biases. Now, and I think that is fair.
But some of us are operating off fact. I think this is why he was getting annoyed with me, is because I wasn't coming at him like, I hate you and I'm mad about it. I was coming at him with, this is the law. Yes, he is actually very much legally allowed to shoot her. This is a statute that literally governs it. Yeah. I was giving him nothing but truth. It's not my opinion on any of it.
And Leah, if you look at this situation purely in isolation, forget the training, forget as much as we can reasonably like jettison and just set aside, just look at the situation as much as is possible. So forget that it's ICE, forget that they've been protesting. It's just a officer of some kind that has been obstructed by this person, and they're telling her to get out of the car and she's trying to leave.
Right.
For whatever reason,
and that's what they can't do.
Yeah. Now, to say that he is quote unquote in front of the vehicle, to me, when the vehicle is reversing, is a bit disingenuous. If I'm stood at the rear of the vehicle, that actually sounds inherently that sounds like a safer place to be, right? But not if the vehicle's going fucking backwards. It's not. This vehicle was going backwards when the officer was stood in front of it. She put it in gear and moved towards him. Now, whether she was trying to steer around him or what doesn't matter. He was in front of the vehicle. She could clearly see it. When he put himself in front of the vehicle, it was either stationary or going backwards. She then put it in gear. Now, I'm not convinced that he could see the wheels from the angle that he was stood at.
I'm not
maybe
either.
He could, maybe he couldn't. But what I know he heard, because I'm not a fucking idiot, is that engine revving up.
Yep.
And you can clearly see from the footage, he didn't draw his gun until you see the whole body of the vehicle tilts backwards as the torque goes into those front wheels. That's when he reaches for his pistol.
Right. It took him that long to grasp what was happening.
Now, would I would like to think that in the same situation, I wouldn't have shot her, because frankly, I don't think I would have been materially harmed in that situation. Worst case scenario, I think reasonably, I think I'm getting my foot run over. But I don't get to be the arbiter of what he thinks based on my experience. It's what he reasonably thought in the situation at the time. You know, the other woman's shouting at him. She's screaming, "Drive, baby, drive!" You know, the other officer's trying to reach in and drink. Like, he doesn't know. Like, what's his perception?
It's
of this?
chaos.
Like 3 months ago, I was dragged down the road whilst I was reaching into the vehicle, like my mate Dave is trying to do right now whilst he stood at the passenger door, the driver door. Is he more worried about his colleague than he is about himself? Is that why he continued to shoot? Because his colleague is still hanging out the fucking driver's door of the vehicle. I have no clue what was going through his head, and nor does anybody else.
No one's talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. Thank you.
What no
he was
one
contacted
is also,
by the car. End of discussion.
What no one is also mentioning is how about we de-escalate?
No, I completely agree. Listen, here's the funny part, right? People radicalize each other with shitty opinions and takes all the time, every day across America. Because here's the thing. I have always been anti-corruption, really for a long time, anti-police generally. I have, even on my own channel, exposed many cases of police misconduct. I think dirty cops should probably get, some really terrible punishment, like really a little sort of the death penalty, like a maiming, because we put so much trust in them, right? So I'm the first one to say, this cop is an asshole, he was wrong. But I look at this and I know statistically that attacks on ICE have gone up 1,300% in the last year, right? From
what
like 90 to like
attack on ICE.
What do you mean? Like when they were shooting at
attack?
You mean like when that one dude
right
was
here in the
shooting at
chat
ICE and hit the immigrants? Like what happened with
that?
Like
that.
what happened afterwards when
or
a dude
the
literally attacked
14
an ICE
times
agent with a shovel and he got shot over it? He's still alive.
Well,
yeah.
Or
the times they've hit him with tear gas, or the 14 times they've hit him with cars.
I'm sorry, what?
Some people will claim that
people are throwing tear gas at ICE.
How about the snipers
cocktails?
that
Absolutely.
Kill 2 detainees.
This is
You
that
forget-
y'all aren't
you
hearing
forget,
about
Max,
this.
this is
This is
America.
exactly what y'all are. Nobody hears about this. We don't hear about the attacks on the ICE agents, and so you're not hearing about the almost 2,000 times they got attacked last year. And you're thinking, out of nowhere, here they are, shooting people. But just imagine, like, this guy had just been attacked, and I'm glad that you brought that up, John, because he wasn't. Other people want to say, like, oh, he was just struck by a car. He needs to learn not to stand in front of cars. When in reality, he broke the back window of a car, reached his arm in, and this crazy fucker grabbed his arm and took off. That's what really happened. So it's not like he's just some idiot standing in front of cars. That's first. And second,
the other thing that I don't understand with First Amendment, sorry, it was just specifically in relation to the car. Like, First Amendment's argument seems to be, well, it's not safe to stand in front of a vehicle unless it's in park or neutral. Well, firstly, how do you know that when you stood outside the car? If the vehicle's stationary, is it in park? Is it in neutral? Are they holding it on the clutch? Are they holding it on the brake? Have they got the handbrake on? But, like, obviously, is it an automatic? Is it a manual? Also, I've lost count of the number of. I don't even recognize if somebody is reversing into their driveway and I walk across the pavement in front of the vehicle. Am I putting myself in mortal danger? No. If they put the car into drive and roll down the driveway, all of a sudden they've changed direction, the circumstances changed, and they are putting me in mortal danger. Now, when you're a police officer and you've got a gun and you're fractions of an inch from the bonnet of the vehicle, maybe don't drive the vehicle at the police officer. The situation with ICE seems to be a bit odd as well. Like, I mean, I was looking. It wasn't like an ONS or any kind of official reporting. I can't remember what the organization was, but they were sort of like the equivalent of the Independent or the Guardian. They were on the. Somebody is thumping the fuck out of their keyboard, by the way.
Yes.
And like, ICE apparently have arrested 170 people in the last 9 months, American citizens who were attempting to impede them doing their job. Now, sometimes when they've been arrested, it does seem as though they've been roughed up a bit. They've been detained for the maximum period of time seems to have been about 48 hours, which I think is the legal maximum.
They take them out feet first.
But my point is that not a single one of them has been, like, quote unquote executed, which is how this is being portrayed by some people.
No, I don't know about executed, but people have died in ICE custody.
Well, yeah, but people die in custody all the time. Why is ICE special?
No, but
and people keep saying this, but can we get a list? Can we get some names?
Recently is a guy that he got choked to death because he refused to go to the cell without his medication or some shit like that.
If I may ask John a question.
Yeah, of course.
John, do you believe the defense hinges totally on whether he put himself in front of the car? Because as far as I know, that would simply be an ICE policy, which I don't know necessarily controls his legal defense if it's self-defense.
From what, again, I'm twice removed from this in that I'm not a legal expert and I'm from the UK, so we don't have a federalized system. So I'm not sure, like, how the state and the federal law interacts here. So I'm just trying to be. I'm looking at this practically. Now, practically speaking.
What was the question? I'm so sorry. Does it hinge on what?
Does his actions hinge on whether he put himself in danger by putting himself in front of the vehicle or not?
Do you want me to answer that? I do know the answer.
If the vehicle was moving forwards, if it was in gear and moving forwards when he stepped in front of it, then I would argue, actually, yeah, he put himself in danger and he's a fucking idiot and he should have just not done that. But the fact that the vehicle was either stationary or rolling backwards when he stood in front of the vehicle, and he'd also, like, done a lap of the vehicle already recording. Like, I don't think he was expecting her to stick it in drive and drive it. It's not like she was. Yes, she was.
My understanding is that the left-wing argument is that because he may have violated an ICE policy, that would make him lose immunity. But I don't think that would erase his self-defense claim if he puts himself in front of the car. Furthermore, And
I think it depends on it very much depends on the circumstances. So, for example, if a car is racing down the street at 100 miles an hour and a police officer steps in front of the vehicle, clearly there's no time braking distance or anything. Even if the perpetrator slammed on the brakes immediately upon seeing the police officer because they didn't want to kill them, the guy was going to get pancaked anyway. That, to me, is putting themselves in extreme harm. However, if the guy is like a police sniper and he's half a mile down the road and the car is doing 100 miles an hour, he is directly in the path of the vehicle, but it's not he's not immediately in danger. So how like in this circumstance, like the 100 yards down the road or the half a mile down the road, the equivalent here is the vehicle was going backwards when he stood in front of it, not towards him. Like, how right? I mean, how like what degree of immediacy are we dealing with here? And if I am not, like, is it safe for me when I'm walking down the street to walk in front of a vehicle that's reversing up their driveway? Is that safe for me as a civilian? Because if it is, then it should be safe for a police officer who we expect to put themselves, but as part of their job, in much more dangerous situations than a civilian. So if I, as a civilian, can stand in front of a vehicle that's fucking reversing, then he should be able to as a police officer, because his life is inherently more dangerous as part of his fucking job. Surely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do we expect police officers to take on less risk than Dave, who's picking his kids up from school?
And that's the whole argument too. Like, he should have been at home. He's got PTSD from being drugged before. He shouldn't have been in the field. And I'm like, show me you've never ever known anybody in law enforcement. They get hurt every day in our country. These law enforcement officers and federal agents get hurt all the time, unfortunately, right? They can't just ride a desk the rest of their career. And even if they could, that would be a punishment to dudes like this and ruin their career.
I think if I'm engaging my hardcore skeptic and throwing in a little bit of my sort of slightly right of center, I think the level of risk that the American public who are so inclined want ICE agents to engage in is so low risk that they just don't turn up for work. Unfortunately, it does clearly seem that they have a fucking job to do.
Right.
So
yeah, I completely agree. And now it's more dangerous. Now it's 1,300% of an increase of attacks. And, you know, all that I was going to say in regard to your question is that legally, there's a few standards you have to meet to be able to use deadly force legally, not even like by ICE rules, right? Like the law itself. And it's proximity, ability, and I can't remember the third one exactly, but it's you have to be in, like, you have to have the ability to do it, be close enough to do it, intent maybe, seeming to do it. And she met all three of these.
I mean, the thing that's sad about it is that her intent we'll never really know because we can't ask her.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, but the sad part, but also her intent to a degree is irrelevant. You know,
really? What?
Well, it's the perception of the officer
that
matters. It's the perception of the officer that matters.
Legally, he's right.
Yeah,
legally, he's right.
It's
and
like,
it's a subjective statement. Yeah, people keep getting really mad that it's not objective.
You know, funny enough, I've seen protesters of ICE dogpile on a car because they know the ICE car can't just speed off and hit them.
Yep. I saw that too.
Oh, they've been 2, 3, 4 times it's happened now with like 8 of them just all jumping on the hood.
Yeah,
as if somehow that's going to bring Renee good back.
I also saw a nice guy that shot a rubber ball to the eye of a guy at point blank range. Now he's blind.
And you heard about that, but did you hear about the other attacks on the ICE officers like I was talking? This is exactly the problem.
What do you mean by attacks on ICE officers?
I literally put it in the chat. I put it in the chat. 3,200 attacks. I put it right there in the chat.
Did you hear about the sniper that targeted ICE officers and ended up killing detainees instead?
Yep. The immigrant
No, I
detainee.
didn't hear about that, but that is I do not condone.
He was aiming at ICE officers.
I do not condone. Yeah, sorry. I want to make sure I get the right word. Yeah, no, I don't approve of someone just shooting ICE officers. But the way that things are, if this keeps escalating from
why is it escalating?
If this keeps escalating from the side of law enforcement, it will turn. It will continue to get to turn
From the side of law
worse and
enforcement.
worse.
Can you just how? What are they doing to escalate it? I'm honestly
when they're doing
asking.
their job.
When they're doing their job, is that what you mean? If they continue to arrest illegal
Right.
aliens, I'm not even trying to be a smartass. I'm really asking.
What part of their job includes shooting someone in the eye at point blank range?
Okay, so we have these two situations. I haven't heard about this particular situation. I'm happy to look into it, right? But they arrest thousands of people, and you hear about these two. So there's many, many more that they obviously don't shoot in the eye. I would venture a guess 99.999% of the time they handle it very well and professionally, like they're trained to do, right? These are criminals. The people that they were going after in Minneapolis, the White House and the DHS released a list of them, and they're a bunch of kitty diddlers and murderers that have had arrest warrants and deportation orders for decades, some of them. These are the people Renee Good was protecting. These are not, little families, and ICE is grabbing them off the streets. They're terrible. You want proof for that? You want proof for that too? Because I've got all the receipts. I don't make baseless claims.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that
now, what I wanted to, like you said that they're criminals, like
yep. And I don't mean illegals, criminals that did something else.
Well, isn't it the case that there are some states or some principalities, some police departments, prison institutions, that even though they know they have a person who does not have a legal right to remain in the United States, they've committed a crime, and they should, once they've served the sentence, be handed over to ICE for deportation, but they're refusing to hand them over to ICE and they're just releasing them into the community, and then ICE have to go and find them? What,
sanctuary.
An escalation?
Sanctuary cities.
Yeah, fine, the sanctuary, but that's not just like, we're not just talking about like the governor of California, sending up a flare and going, hey, come here, GDP, we need you. It's the fact that this is a person who has been arrested. They've been determined that they don't have a legal right to remain in the United States. They've now served a prison sentence because you don't trust them to walk down the street in your country. And they should, at the completion of the sentence, be handed over to ICE for immediate deportation. But these institutions are refusing to engage with ICE at all to deport them, even though there's no query, no qualms at all whether they have a right to be there. So now ICE are having to go.
It's called sanctuary cities,
which force these potentially aggressive, like this could be a handcuffed person being handed from one custodial institution to another custodial institution to be put on a plane. And now they're having to kick down doors to go and get this motherfucker. Of course people are going to get hurt. That's an escalation. Surely. Like what?
Wait, what?
Right.
Refusing to hand criminals over to ICE.
Like when Trump told them, if you self-report.
So they've been arrested. Like somebody has illegally gone into the United States. They've committed a crime, petty or otherwise, doesn't matter. They're incarcerated for a period of time. Again, doesn't matter. They complete their sentence. Now, normally what would happen, I assume, is similar to the UK, in that you would then go through a probation service, you get assigned a probation officer, you get released into the community, they try and get you a job, whatever. And that should be absolutely is the proper process if you have a legal right to remain in the United States. If you don't have a legal right to remain, my understanding is that those institutions are supposed to hand you over to ICE so that you can then go through the deportation process. But all of these sanctuary cities, if that's what they are refusing to engage with the federal government for the deportation process, which means then ICE have to go and find these people within the community. So as opposed to them just being handed over from essentially one prison
and
to
they
another,
still try to keep
like
them out.
Transfer, you've now got to go and find them when they're doing what? Like, and these people don't want to be
already supposed to be gone. Yeah.
And they're already, due to the fact that they've been incarcerated, clearly don't want to follow the law. I don't get it. Like, now, obviously, I'm sure you can find
Neither do I.
examples. I'm sure you can find examples where, you know, a person has been incarcerated and, you know, it's overzealous prosecution. We see it all the time. In the UK as well, we see it, even though we're short on prison space, and our prison isn't privatized or anything like the way the United States is. But you can't, it seems mad. Like, if your position is that we should be a planet without borders and you're globalists and nations don't have a right to exist and there should be the free right to roam everywhere you go, then I at least sympathize with that person's position, because their principles align with the ICE are infringing. The perception is that ICE are infringing on a person's human rights. But if you agree that there is such a thing as illegal migration and you should go through an appropriate process to enter into a person's country or a country from another, then ICE does have a job to do, as long as people don't engage with the legal migration process. And if you've got parts of your government, state, federal, or otherwise, that aren't engaging with the part of the government that is charged with enforcing that what is their job legally, of course we're going to have crazy shit happening all the time. I genuinely, I don't understand it. I don't understand what the problem is outside of. So, for example, where you do have the situation like what you've just raised, Max, like if it turns out that this guy was just like held down and shot in the head with a beanbag round or something,
yeah,
that ICE agent needs to go to prison. That's the worst kind of assault outside of the creepy sexual stuff, because it's just an unbelievable abuse of power that erodes trust in the office, as if it needed any more erosion already. But I'm still looking at the numbers. There's been 170 arrests of American citizens, and something in the high 60% of them have been arrested because they've been obstructing ICE, and then they've been released without charge at a late stage. Essentially, ICE have scooped them up, got them out the fucking way, so that they can do their job and release them without charge at a later stage, which is exactly what they should be doing, because I don't really want somebody who's just been a dickhead languishing in a prison or having a charge against them. This woman seemed to be doing that. She seemed to be being a pain in the ass, and she took it a step too far, and she paid the price.
Yeah, I still think that even in the worst case scenario, the guy feared for the life. Shoot the tires.
Again, we're back.
Okay,
we're back.
But what difference is that going to make? I keep hearing all these things. Could I take it for just 1 minute, John?
Yeah, by all means. Sorry.
Thank you. I didn't want to interrupt you because you were cooking there for a minute. Thank you. I keep hearing all these things. Should have shot her in the shoulder. Should have shot the tires out. Should have gone for the engine block. But there's a couple of really big problems with this, right? Number one is, again, a split-second decision, right? Number two is, what are those things going to do to stop the vehicle in the amount of time he had to stop it as well, right? Number three, he wasn't
what
only
does shooting
afraid.
the driver do to stop the vehicle?
Well, this is what I'm saying. It wasn't just the car that presented the threat.
He couldn't even see the tires.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. Proximity. That's the point I was going to make. He would have had to back up.
The car didn't even fucking screech. So it wasn't like she was burning rubber to try and kill him. This is
how fast? How fast do you have to go?
I am speaking. When I'm the only one here that cannot be interrupted. I am God here when I speak. The car didn't even screech. Like, the dude was here, the car was here. How big of an impact if the car doesn't even screech to go? Like, this is absolutely insane. And if you see a car that is going towards you, dive out of the way, and then you have the whole power of the U.S. government to go and get that person and
to write her a ticket.
Yeah, but no, you can add more charges. You can add the not identifying, obstruction of justice, attempting to
Okay, I do have one question.
Fleeing a scene. You can add even the if you feel like it, you can even add the attempted manslaughter with a vehicle or whatever the fuck the law for that is. This could have gone so different way, in such a different way, if these people weren't just emboldened to do whatever the fuck they want.
Max,
was it emboldened or was he scared? Was he maybe a little bit tired of being
The guy
attacked?
finishes shooting and says, "Fucking bitch." The guy
Max,
was mad.
If
He was on a power
bitch because
trip.
she hit him, though.
The guy was mad on a fucking power trip and literally executed.
I think that's easy to say from saying
there
it
was
through
no
its
need.
Chat, if she does get away, if she does get away, what do you think's going on next?
That's what I was about to say.
They had the license plate, didn't they? So you have cameras all over the place with facial recognition. You're telling me that you can't go find a fucking lesbian in Minnesota?
Well, not if the government is protecting her like they're protecting these illegal aliens that have literally committed these atrocious acts. Hello?
The government.
They're hiding them.
The federal government can't find.
But it's not the federal government. Not when the states are suing them to keep them out.
In Minnesota.
You mean the same state that also was hiding the Somalian billion-dollar fraud?
Sake.
Okay, wait. Wait. Back on track. I have a question.
Oh my
God.
one question, what about? For fuck, you talk about.
Can I just
what about the
question?
$2 million that the former mayor of New York?
Yeah, it's all correct.
What about the Democrat?
What aboutisms? This is just bullshit.
Yeah, it's not helpful. I agree. Listen, let me ask one question. One question.
Fraud is a non-violent crime. This is completely irrelevant, Batman.
Yeah, it is. It is irrelevant. But listen, let's go on an adventure together for just a minute. Let's use our imagination, okay? Seriously. Let's say he did not shoot her that day, okay? Let's say her and wifey are all amped up, right? Because they've been leading this ICE protest all day. They were literally leading the caravan. We know this because her wife told the national news that 2 hours after the shooting. So they were leading this caravan all day, and they're hyped up. Just hold on, go with me. They're hyped up, and their adrenaline's running and pumping, right? And they just had this encounter with this ICE agent, and they were talking shit to him, and then she drove right past him, almost ran over him, and they got it on their phone, and they're posting it all over social media, and they're going through the city, and they're driving crazy, and God forbid, they're talking to each other and laughing, and they're on their phones, and what if she would go through a school crossing and kill 15 kids, right? What would the headline have been the next day? It would have been ICE fails to stop crazy lady.
Right. And this is relevant how and your little fantasy
is that true or not?
I think
no. This is why.
What is
true? I think that's a bit dramatic. But however,
is true? The fact that you just invented a fucking fairy tale to justify the murder.
Okay, Max. Max.
No, it's not justifying. You're not understanding me.
Yes, you just said you
Max, hold on.
No, hold on.
Cannot.
You hold on.
I'm telling you.
You just invented yourself.
No. Max, hold on. Hold on. That's a bit over the top. But however, given the situation, she just sped off.
Get interrupted here.
Max, she just sped off from law enforcement.
You just invented yourself a story like, oh, just because she escaped from us, she's going to go and kill 15 children because
that wasn't even my point.
Max.
So
you're not listening.
The problem is, Leah, it's too far removed from the event.
Max,
bring it back to the event. So, and I can do this very immediately. So, for example, the actual officer who pulled the trigger on this lady, who was unfortunately killed,
who is now a millionaire, by the way.
But my point is that 6 months ago,
1.5 million in 2 days.
Hang on. 6 months ago, this officer was effecting a stop, was dragged down the road, and was seriously injured. And nobody gave a single shit.
This guy is completely incompetent then.
No, but this guy could have had
how the fuck do you get dragged on a vehicle if you're not being completely incompetent about your job?
He got dragged into the vehicle. I already explained that. He literally went to unlock the door and he drug him in.
But also, Max, we're back to asking for perfection again. You know what?
I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for just a little bit of common sense.
Yeah, but Max, he's broken a window on a vehicle in order to get the person out of the vehicle who didn't want to get out of the vehicle, and then the person put the vehicle in drive, grabbed the officer, and dragged him down the road. How else is like short of just shooting him through the windscreen, as has just happened this time? What you're saying is the officer got dragged down the road the last time. He should have probably done something different to avoid getting dragged down the road next time. Well, guess what? Now we've got a dead lady because that's exactly what he fucking did. He didn't want to get dragged down the road again. So this time he just pulled his gun and shot them. He obviously learned from his previous
last time
experience,
he used his stun gun.
I mean, and the other thing is, the other thing, the crazy ass, like, oh well, you know, shooting the driver doesn't stop the vehicle. Shooting the tires doesn't stop the vehicle. Shooting the engine block. Yep. Well, I mean, they're made from milled aluminium. They're CNC'd out of aluminium, unless it's like a 1980s F-150 in which it's a block cast pig
It's
iron.
almost like.
But,
you don't stop vehicles with your body. You use the power.
He was not trying to do that.
You investigate and you have the license plate number. You can get them later. I don't see why.
Or maybe
he should have pulled out his government issued magic wand for stopping vehicles that were driving towards him.
No.
Hold on.
Exactly.
So let's see if we can agree on this.
Can I just finish my point that I never did? Can just for 2 seconds, because I didn't want to just invent some magical fairy tale. This was my point in saying that. It's fucking crazy and it's wild, right? I understand that. My point is saying that we could, what if, and if this had, just like, you know, everyone is doing for what the officer could have, should have, would have done, we could do that the opposite direction as well. The point is, any way he handled this, someone would not have been happy. Any way this went down, it was a shit sandwich that this lady gave him, and the only choice he had was whether to cut it hot dog or hamburger before he shoved it in his mouth to eat it. That's it. There were no good choices. She left him with none. And no matter how he handled it, someone would have been unhappy.
I gave you a good choice.
No. But it's not matched with reality, Max.
Oh, it does match with reality.
A fairy tale choice as well that would not have
it does match with reality. In some
no, it
states,
doesn't.
It is policy
Can we calm down?
to actually not to go through a high-speed police chase because it puts a lot of people in the ground. You get the license plate and you get the guy afterwards.
Yeah, my state's like that. I know.
Oh,
California
so it is an option. Holy fuck! Hallelujah!
Wait, are we talking about a speed chase?
Regardless of whether there's a chase, is she driving off likely recklessly? I mean, she thinks they're behind her.
I never said no, and I'm not saying that she's innocent. I'm just saying that this could have been de-escalated, and we could have one.
Yeah, she could have de-escalated it easily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why didn't she just get out? Why didn't she just get out?
I hold the police to a higher standard than the people.
Can you imagine the same situation with either the local police or the FBI, for instance? I mean, there would be a totally different reaction to this. I mean, at this point,
the
leftists just hate the police. At this point, the leftists just hate the police. So, I mean, now they're saying, oh, the ICE aren't real police. Before, all the police were evil. You can't get it straight. Which one is it?
I mean, if we reverse this perfectly, if this was a lone ICE agent in the vehicle that was being mobbed by a group of people that were just, you know, hated the fact that he was ICE, and somebody in the crowd perceived that they're in danger when the ICE agent tried to flee, and 3 rounds were fired into the vehicle and killed the ICE agent, we wouldn't even be having this fucking debate. It would be a non-issue. Nobody would give a fuck.
People would praise the person that shot that
the circumstances could be exactly the same. ICE agent in the vehicle, and instead of the ICE
you're just inventing bullshit now. I would not celebrate.
No, we're not.
An ICE agent.
You have got to face reality.
I didn't say you would celebrate it. I just said
they celebrated Charlie Kirk. And yes, they did celebrate. Are you kidding me? Look, we have got to face reality at some point.
Yeah, there's people on the extremes in every position. I didn't celebrate.
And they're
Charlie
the ones
Kirk.
we
hear. I actually did a show because I was quite appalled of the people who were actually celebrating the Charlie Kirk thing.
Yeah, and in
But there
fairness,
are
Max,
the extremes. That's what we hear.
Yeah, there are
was-
the extremes on both sides. You also have Proud Boys
I agree.
on ice that are super happy that they
agree.
get to fucking mess up the brownies.
Well, fuck
Wait, what?
racism and sexism and
The
xenophobia
brownies?
and all the phobias and the antis. I'm not that.
I know.
So
and
shadow
that's
box somebody
fine.
else.
But right now,
Max, you also have ICE agents that are minorities.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? I've not heard anybody cover this.
And
This guy, this agent, had an immigrant wife who's only been a citizen for a few years. So this whole he's an ICE agent because he's on a power trip and he's racist.
so
falls
a
right the fuck
massive
apart.
hypocrite. A massive hypocrite.
and what do you mean?
Wait a minute.
Well, no, you're either a
Wait.
legal migrant or you're not.
How does
You
that
engage
even
with the
make
legal
sense?
process,
Right.
so you have it.
So, what was the process for this woman to become legal? Was she always legal? Because the problem is that the majority of people have to spend some time in illegality before they become legal.
No,
Wait.
you can claim
What you need to
asylum.
do
You
is
claim
to
asylum.
what you need to do is to overhaul the immigration system so that
Agreed.
you don't force people
Agreed.
to
Absolutely.
be in illegality.
This is
But
this is
where
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
the whole
mea
system's
culpa
fucked.
saying
I
like,
agree.
oh yeah, we need to fix this? Now, the other day, they published that the U.S. is fully denying visas that for
come
like
from pretty much
75
majority Muslim
countries, including
Max.
mine.
Yeah, that are a high
Including
terror
mine.
threat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ones that
My
are highest
country
terror
doesn't
threat
have
right
high
now.
terror threat. We're 3.5 million people, one of the best countries in all of South America. We have very low corruption. We have very low stats compared to all of South America. And yet somehow my country is now pulled in the terrorist.
So
What's your
Max, like
country?
the notion that
Uruguay.
Uruguay, but the notion that you somehow have to be an illegal citizen before you can become a legal citizen, I'm sorry, it's just you have to
Yeah, it's not
expend
true.
calories to break. Like Max, this is a UK example because obviously this should be clear that's where I'm from. But you can rock up to the airport in Lyon and spend 28 quid on a Wizz Air flight and land in any of the sundry airports in the UK, present yourself to Border Force and go, hey, I'd like to claim asylum, please. Completely legal.
Literally.
But these assholes
Literally,
are
it's all you
spending
do.
£5,000 to people traffickers to come across the busiest shipping lane on the fucking planet in a rickety boat.
And people die and they get
And illegally
raped
cross
and
this
all
boat.
sorts of things happen.
What's easier, 28 quid for a Wizz Air flight, or trying to cross the busiest shipping lane on Earth? Is it possible?
The majority
people-
of people that are illegal immigrants in the U.S. just overstay a tourist visa.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's about to be debunked.
That is a
That's
lie.
about to be debunked. Wait 3 days and you're going to learn different. I'm
But
telling you right now.
Oh, yeah,
That's been one of the biggest
Yeah,
lies.
yeah, I
That's
have
not
the
how it
evidence,
works.
but it goes to another
No.
school.
No.
Even
Yeah,
even
that's
if
what
they
it is.
do,
No, you're going to see an article.
Even-
Mark my words.
even if they do
Right.
overstay a tourist visa,
Max.
when I've been to the US and I was a
Oh.
tourist with a visa, like I rocked up, I went, here's my visa, like, yeah, what hotel are you staying at? This hotel. Okay, have you got your return flight booked? Yes, I've got my return flight booked. So if I've got my return flight booked and I've got the hotel that I'm staying at, that's all planned in advance. Like all I have to do is fucking turn up to the airport to leave. If I didn't do that, then I would be there illegally, right?
Yeah.
So
And that's
ICE
what
could
the
come and
majority
scoop me
of
up
people
and
do.
but ICE could come and scoop me up and fuck me off, right?
Yeah. But the
Okay,
problem
And
is
why
that
shouldn't
there
they?
is
What's wrong with that?
no, that's
absolutely
fine. What I'm telling you is that
Wait, is it
the-
fine
the
or is it not
migration-
fine?
The migration process, having to force people to spend a bunch of years in illegality just in order for them to get a chance to get their citizenship. That
You
is
don't
just
have to
a
come here.
broken system.
This
You
is
don't
not
have
how
to
this
come
works
here.
at all. You don't have to spend a single day illegal here. You can come, claim asylum, and begin your paperwork. You literally have
That's
you
Leah,
not how
I
certain-
disagree with you.
They don't give
Leah.
asylum to everyone.
Leah.
Holy fuck.
You're not entitled
Me
to come
as a
here.
Uruguayan. Me as a Uruguayan.
Leah, you're not entitled to live
Me
here.
as a Uruguayan.
Yeah, that part too. Yeah, that part too. We
I can-
can't just accept everyone.
You're not entitled to live here.
Me as a Uruguayan, I cannot go and claim asylum You just, it doesn't work for everyone. Asylum is only if you're being persecuted by like the cartels, political, and all that kind of stuff. But me, as a Uruguayan person, I cannot claim asylum. There's no chance because my country has none of that. So no, you're wrong.
But if you want
Paso
to go
for $5, give me one second.
Max.
Paso for $5
wait.
says MDD has taken over the after show. Yeah, a little bit. Beyond belief, these goobers are rationalizing the shooting of a woman 4 times for blocking the road.
4. What do you mean 4?
Yeah.
No. Again,
No.
that's not why. Look, if some magic footage turns up tomorrow, like a perfect aerial footage, like let's say somebody was flying a drone over the scene tomorrow, and it turns out that this officer was at no point in the path of this moving vehicle, fine, charge him. Nothing I've seen draws me to that conclusion so far. Like nothing.
And literally no one is saying that she was shot because she blocked the road. She was shot because she hit the ICE officer, whose life was in danger. If you put an officer, anyone like that, in that sort of position too, you are going to, if you survive, hold on, wait.
People acting like this ICE agent just rocked up to me. Hey, you're blocking the road, bitch.
We have the car, we have the dude, and the car did this. That's very dangerous. It's almost
like
to
watch the video
someone doesn't like, someone is not looking and they bump you getting out of the Walmart parking lot. It's like, oh yeah, you should just pull your gun and shoot the fuck out of them.
You know, even as well, like how fast she was going in that instance, she wasn't at cruise control, was she? She wasn't coasting, was she? When she hits the gas,
the car was stationary, like moved and started. It didn't even screech. What? It was less than 5 or.
I think we kind of need to watch.
It was a very low speed.
I think we need to watch the video again so I can make this point though too, because when she does hit the gas, you see the vehicle drop. When you're in a vehicle and you hit the gas like that, the vehicle, you see the body drop. Yeah. That's exactly what happens when you hit the gas. That's exactly what happened with her vehicle when she hit the gas. Not to mention, as was mentioned, she didn't do even a burnout. She didn't like floor it to like actually try to kill him. Like, this is insane. What do you mean? And not to mention, especially if we're going to be talking about like if she didn't floor it, if she didn't like gas pedal it or whatever, she definitely didn't. Hold on. She definitely wasn't light enough that he would have received internal bleeding in his torso.
Dude, internal, number one, there is no verified report. There is no hospital report. There are no images, like, and internal bleeding is a fucking bruise.
Yeah, well, I was about to say exactly the same thing. I got to say this. And
you don't get that from a love tap out of a vehicle.
No,
dude, I get a bruise if I go like that.
I want to see that tomorrow, by the way.
Look, I mean,
what the fuck are you talking about? Like, life-threatening bruise.
Yeah, but it doesn't. The point is that the injuries the officer ended up suffering
from a car that was stationary and started like and crawled forward.
I think Leia wants to make one final point, so I think we should let her make one final point.
Could I say something?
Sure.
Well, I would just about this real quick. I think it's wild that we're not supposed to, like everybody says we're demons because we're quote unquote justifying, even though I never even said that I completely agreed with his actions in the first place. So there's also that. His behavior, yet nobody wants to just admit she tried to hit him and that's wrong. I've not heard one person say that's standing up for her in the situation, which I think is fucking wild.
I don't think that you can ascertain that that's what her intentions were.
What would you think?
We can't ask her because she's fucking dead.
I don't
what
know
would you
whether
think? What would your common sense tell you?
My common sense was telling me that she was trying to get away. Is that incorrect? Yes. Does that give any justification to shoot someone from the side or from the back who is unarmed and who was just a moment before smiling and telling him, I'm not mad at you, dude.
Okay, I mean,
yeah, she looked demonic. It's not like she was genuinely happy. She was a threat.
Come on,
sorry.
you know there is,
I'm sorry.
you know
What
there's
did
not
you
a
just
tried to hit
say?
him, but she hit him.
Stop!
I mean, Max.
Stop! Did you just say
She
she was
looked
demonic?
Demonic. Not literally, not as in possessed by demons, as in deranged.
Because let's be honest,
and,
even the way that you did it,
and
she was
you
sarcastic as fuck,
made
wasn't she?
this psychological evaluation by the footage that we have.
Did I say mentally ill? Did I say mentally ill? I said deranged.
No, I mean, what the fuck does demonic even mean?
Oh, you're gonna hold on to that word,
maybe I should say more like indoctrinated, brainwashed, a victim of brainwashing, and she was turned into their cannon fodder. That's what she became. Yeah, that's really what it is. And everybody thinks that sounds radical. And in nobody really wants to talk about the fact that out in the open, we've had sheriffs, we've had mayors, we've had congressmen and women in the halls of Congress of the United States of America tell U.S. citizens and illegal immigrants alike to fight ICE for a year, told them to take their bodies and stop them any way they could, stop them any way possible, over and over again. And everybody else has been saying, hey, you know what? Let's not do that.
I wonder why.
Okay, so now you're promoting fighting ICE.
When the government is tyrannical, it is baked into the Constitution that you're supposed to expunge a tyrannical
Change
government.
it. You're supposed to change it. You're not supposed to literally.
You don't change it asking, begging, like saying pretty please.
So you promote this. You'd like to see the government overthrown.
Anything.
That's a wild
I'm not promoting anything. I am in general anti-violence. I am quite a pacifist.
Yeah,
right?
but I'm now.
Okay, can I ask you like three questions?
Yeah.
Can I just ask like 2 or 3 questions? And I gotta go to bed. It's like 1:30 here for me, or like 1. So do you believe that ICE, in fact, has the right to enforce immigration and kick out immigrants? Just full stop, no ands, ifs, or buts. Is that, in fact, their legal power? Yes or no?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't have, so that you're fine with. What is the exact thing you have an issue with? Because you kept saying something about they're acting illegally. What things are they doing that are illegal, other than the situation, the one situation you mentioned?
They have their faces covered.
You understand why, right?
No.
You don't understand these people are in danger?
Police are also in the same exact danger. They don't cover their faces. FBI agents are in the exact
That's
same
a lot different.
danger. They don't cover their faces.
Do you also understand that DHS and ICE don't only go after immigrants, but in fact, like kind of stuff you might typically think FBI or CIA even would handle, like human trafficking, child porn, really large RICO cases for like drug cartels? You understand they deal a lot in that too, right? That maybe it's not just the citizens they're hiding from, but like 3 generations of drug cartels. Could you possibly imagine that?
Yeah. And the police does the same thing. They don't wear masks.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They do not regularly come into contact with like RICO level criminals. They absolutely do not. They regularly come into contact with street thugs.
Right. And they're not dangerous.
They don't have a huge network with hundreds or thousands of people and millions of dollars at stake to be able to hunt these people down like a cartel. Do you really not understand the difference between a street thug and a cartel? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Oh, I do know. Yeah, I do know the difference. It's almost
so that's your biggest problem.
It's almost the same danger.
Okay, we'll just agree to disagree because I don't know. I don't even know what to do with that. So that's your biggest problem, is that they cover their face? That's your biggest issue?
That they cover their face and that they are like literally escalating when all the...
Wait, why is it they have to cover their faces? Because
the left has made them in danger.
Ross?
Well,
because people dox them, like especially the
we
left
already
does,
Batman, I just went over this with her.
Yeah, but
3,200 just got exposed and doxed as well. All their information online.
I don't support that. I don't support the
I didn't say you did, but maybe that's why.
So in the, can I just ask a question here? So the whole point of like, it seems like it's the whole face covering thing because they then become unidentifiable. They're just sort of like an unidentifiable widget in a government
Which
machine.
means unaccountable also, right?
Yeah, so you're losing accountability. But like, I mean, in the UK, for example, the police have what they call a PIP, or they've got a badge number essentially, which is like it's on the lapel. It's a 4-digit number that's on the epaulet on the arm and stuff like that. So even if they covered their face, they have a unique identifier that is visible, and they are legally required to provide their warrant card to members of the public on request. But you could do that if the face was covered. So as long as ICE are identifiable, uniquely identifiable as agents,
they're not.
Because that's not what they want. They are. They absolutely are.
They are.
They have an they have an EIN employee number. They sure do. They may not have a badge number the same way a cop does, but they absolutely have an employee number. Yes, they do.
But,
yeah, John's right. Every person that works for the local or federal government must have one. Sorry, go ahead.
And also, this guy had his face covered and he's been identified anyway, so it doesn't seem to be that much of a problem. Now, when it comes to being able to, like,
yeah, but the people shouldn't have to do detective work to identify the police officer.
No, I agree. And you know, if the police had a legitimate reason to be kicking down my front door in the middle of the night, for example, they'd better make sure they really, really, really clearly identify themselves as police, because I've got a wife and 2 kids in the house. And you can bet your ass I'm going to be the first person down the stairs, and I'm going to be coming down I'm going to be a pajama-clad fucking missile. So unless they make it really clear. So I actually agree that there needs to be an incredibly clear, absolute, like, we're ICE, we're legitimate, this is why we're here, but that none of that requires them to have their faces uncovered. As long as they make that minimum, like, as long as they, to all degrees of reasonableness, satisfy that they are legitimate law enforcement officers. And in this circumstance, the fact that they had their faces covered, are we really making the argument that the lack of face covered means that this woman didn't think they were really ICE and therefore she could leave?
No, I never said anything
close
like that. She was asking me in isolation, do I have a problem with this grunt being hidden? Yes, I do.
Okay.
Well, I'm just wondering what
the principle is. But the principle of secure borders in and of itself isn't a problem.
No, I understand. I didn't say, like, you guys think that I'm like a crazy radical leftist? I'm not. I am a leftist. I am a communist. But I do, if the policies are that the borders, sure. But the U.S. immigration has a really big problem in the way it fucking works. And that needs to be addressed.
Can I super quickly comment?
And so far, when I said that, she was like, yeah, you're right. I agree.
Super quick. Surrender Monkey in the chat. How does that work? Specifically with the UK, how does that work with undercover cops? The UK does not have clear identification monikers in the UK. So a police officer has to formally identify themselves when they're either, for example, making an arrest, giving an instruction, trying to detain, or change your behaviour otherwise. So, for example, with an undercover police officer, they're basically observing you, at which point they're not really required to identify themselves. But also, police officers are allowed to lie when they're performing undercover duties. We have had instances in the past with this where, for example, undercover police officers in the UK engaged in romantic relationships, not necessarily with people that they're investigating, but people that were within a community that they're investigating. They've done things like fathered children and stuff like that. And then when their role has ended, they've fucked off. And that's left like people going, where's my boyfriend gone? And little Tarquin's dad has now just disappeared. And they were protected by the police. They had their anonymity protected because they were performing undercover duties at the time. So I'm not suggesting that it's not been abused, and there's obviously ring fencing around things like undercover duties. But if you're just a police officer walking down the street and you're going to try and arrest me or tell me I can't do something that I'm doing, and I ask you to identify yourself, you can bet your ass you fucking have to identify yourself.
Absolutely. And there's, like you said, there's a reason they have to keep their faces covered. This is the last point that I want to make. And whether we agree on everything or not, Max, I do want to thank you for having me on today. Thank you very much. It's been a lively discussion.
No problem.
I just really want to also point out the fact of all the propaganda that's come out after this, right? And propaganda, I know it has a negative connotation, but both sides feel that it can be good or bad, blah, blah, blah. Just, as a qualifier. I really think that it's interesting that there seems to be one quote unquote side in this that's perfectly willing to concede maybe he didn't handle it perfectly. However, he was given a shit sandwich, like I said earlier, right? Maybe he could have done better. But when you're forced into a split-second decision, it's hard to say. Maybe we can concede ground because we still feel that she was the one ultimately who put herself there and him there to make that shitty decision. And I think it's interesting now, in hindsight, this woman is being sainted and very clear and obvious lies, like this Christian mother of 3 that keeps circulating when in reality she only had custody of one of her children and had a nasty breakup with the baby daddy. And one of the things he mentioned, cited in their divorce, was literally her being radicalized. I feel like this is important. I'm not just trying to smear her. It's important because this shows a pattern of behavior that led her there that day. I'm not saying
and
that
you're
means she
taking
deserved to die.
the husband at face value. Why?
I mean, it's literally been reported. It's in the documents.
Is it not possible that he said she was radicalized just so he would get the custody?
I mean,
because
it's
I mean,
possible,
you're making a lot of
she was
claims and
radicalized,
assumptions and so on. Oh,
well, that was in legal paperwork,
someone
and
who
we see
smiles and says, "I don't hold
someone
it against.
willing
I'm not
to
mad
drive
at you."
But you do
what?
understand. You can say something, and it's not what you say; it's how you say it. I know you understand that. You seem like a smart guy, Max. Sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah, I know, but
right?
if someone tells you, "I'm not mad at you, dude," with a gigantic smile on their face, I mean,
as they're blocking your way, right? As they've been stalking you and impeding your very legal duty all day long,
also,
and then it's okay, we're fine.
But it's also like it's such that doesn't even track like on any level. Like, okay, yeah, like a couple of seconds, like 30 seconds earlier, she said, "Hey, I'm not mad at you," and I smiled. Of course, that's what he was thinking as the vehicle's rolling towards him. Well, she said she's not mad. She doesn't. I'll just stand here.
Right.
It doesn't.
Do her actions
I think
match?
that the biggest part that I don't get anyone to engage is why, if she was so intent on killing him, why didn't she burn out? Why didn't she actually floor it in order to actually, try to kill him?
I never
Because
said
the
she
way
was
she
intent.
moved the car, it seemed to me that she was just trying to swerve and get away and escape.
But see,
it's incorrect to flee a crime scene or whatever. Fine.
Max, she doesn't have to be intent on killing him.
No,
that's what I was about to say. It doesn't matter.
That's what you guys
legally,
were saying.
Legally,
no.
I'm telling you, legally, like earlier when I talked about those 3 definitions that she had to meet for him to be able. No. Just let me engage for 2 seconds. I gotta go in. To be able to use that lethal force upon her, all 3 of those things, none of them have anything to do with her intent. It doesn't matter if she intended to reverse and put it in park, and she was even there, wrong place, wrong time, and had no hit. None of that matters. All that it matters is that she could have done it. She had the tool to do it, and she was capable of doing it. Those are the 3 things that are counted, right? Morally, it doesn't feel good. Nobody really wants to talk about the cognitive dissonance. I don't fucking like this either. It don't make me feel good. I don't want to watch this. I'm not glad that ICE is having to shoot anybody, whether it's quote unquote awful but lawful or not. I don't like any of it, right? But he was justified.
And
I just read a message in the side chat. Someone saying ICE should be more trigger happy. So I understand, and the same way that you complain about the radical left, we did have.
I denounce that
there right now. And today I didn't do.
Well, hold on, Max. You did
my regular. I didn't do my regular section of the dumbest messages in the chat because they were too sad to actually even make fun of. Because some people were like, "Yeah, fuck her," and yeah. And one thing Wi-Fi said is like, "Oh, I'm not happy that she died because she was a lesbian." And it's like, "Oh, that sounded more like a confession than no
wild self-report.
than a thing. Like, yeah, that is just wild.
There have been some people that have just been saying some horrendous shit about this lady, and to be frank, it's irrelevant. All of it is relevant. It doesn't matter. It could have been a 6'2" greasy biker wearing a leather-studded jacket. The facts that matter are the facts that matter. But it is almost completely. In fact, it is completely irrelevant. Like what's going on with her kids, her former husband, partner, her change in sexuality if she's had one. Like what does that have to do with this like 7 seconds of footage that's been the focus of it? The ICE officer's history, I would argue, is more relevant. Because like the training that he's had, his history on the police force, like has this guy got like 4 bodies on him already where he has like shot like, has he got previous investigations where they've gone, right, if you kill one more person without just cause, we're going to fight? We need to know that. That's kind of relevant. Her history, I don't give a shit. She could have been the most horrendous person on the face of the planet. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, everyone deserves the rule of law, and I don't think that this shooting was warranted. I think that it's a complete lack. Maybe it's not murder. Maybe it's I don't know the legalese on this, but I think that the officer is way more in the wrong than her. Way more.
Yeah, I mean, you can cause. It doesn't seem like, obviously, when you point a firearm at somebody and pull the trigger, you intend to kill them, or you intend to at least seriously injure them. But it's not like his head sprung off the pillow like where people make the argument that, oh, this guy was just looking for an excuse to shoot somebody, and this was that excuse. This happened altogether too quickly. It way too fast, and everything he did seemed to be an immediate reaction to what was going on in front of him. Now, whether it was a massive overreaction, fine, but I do not think this officer's head sprung off the pillow in the morning and went, hey, I'm going to go and kill a lesbian who's got some estranged children and has had a shitty breakup with her husband who was pointing the car in my vague direction.
Maybe not that specifically, but these guys, they're really emboldened, and they are out for blood.
Max,
they literally are out for blood.
You gotta be so careful with that. I mean, like this guy, from what I understand, like the history of this guy has, like, I mean, literally 6 months earlier, he was dragged down the road like 100 yards.
Yeah, because he's an incompetent motherfucker. Because that guy has no business being in law enforcement whatsoever.
But hang on, you can't, like, he was affecting a stop. He broke a window. He was trying to extract somebody from a car, and they grabbed hold of him and drove down the road with him. And that happened all whilst he was stood at the side of the vehicle. And you're saying that was due to incompetence.
Yeah.
And now he has not allowed a person to drag him down the road by shooting them. And this is now because he is what?
Yes.
A bloodthirsty murderer who's trigger happy?
Yes, because on the first thing, what do you do?
It sounds like no matter what he does, you're just going to go, he's a cunt and he deserves to go to prison.
No, I think he's an incompetent officer. Because go on the passenger side, so you don't get dragged like that. Wait for backup, or do, like, there's so many other ways than putting yourself and others in that kind of danger.
Max, you
open the back door and grab him from the
what, and choke him unconscious, or pull him across the passenger seat, or while he's strapped. And Max, what level of like surrealism are we supposed to engage with here? Like, I mean, this is a human being.
I don't know. You people are telling me that, oh, she attacked him when the car went boop, boop, forward, and he's like, pa, pa, pa. then the foot goes on the gas, it accelerates forward.
Yeah, but you do understand that before he was dragged down the street the first time, the car was stationary, right? And it had to accelerate up to speed with him attached to it. He was just trying to stop that from happening.
And why was he? I don't know the previous case, and I honestly don't care. It does seem like incompetence, because if he sighs, it's pretty sure that he wasn't alone. So how the hell did he get himself into that fucking situation? If someone is resisting, putting your hand on the car is maybe not the best thing. Maybe, and there is no body cams and all of this. Like, this is a shit show from the ground up by the government.
To state that he's incompetent, I think that needs backing up. So, for example, just because somebody is injured in the line of duty does not de facto make them incompetent. Somebody can follow their training to the letter and still be hurt, right? Would you concede that at least?
What? Repeat that. Sorry, I got this.
So somebody could follow their training to the letter and not be incompetent and still be injured.
Yes.
So because this guy was injured before, so for example, part of the police training when they make stops is they ask the person they've stopped to wind down the window, and then they are supposed to reach in and remove the keys from the ignition if the person they're stopping has refused to remove the keys from the ignition themselves, so that the car can't flee because you've then got the keys in your hand, right?
Yeah.
So if he was following the training where he was reaching in to take the keys out of the ignition, or he was reaching in to take the keys off of the person and they grab him and then drive down the road with him. Firstly, even if the vehicle was surrounded by other police officers, in the split second that takes to happen, they're not going to stop that. And at some point when you're interacting with people, when you're making physical contact with people, they do unexpected things, and you can get hurt, especially when you're a police officer, right?
Yeah.
I don't like to say that he's incompetent.
But these grunts, they don't go out alone. That's my point. They don't go out alone. So
yeah, he wasn't alone this time either.
Yeah. So why put themselves in that situation?
Because they got a job.
It makes no sense. And when you bring up like, oh yeah, this guy was drugged, it just to me it makes it look like the guy was out for some generic revenge.
Max, you're quick to call somebody.
Max.
You're quick to call somebody incompetent, but you're confident you could be an effective ICE agent and remain safer.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have shot this lady.
Yeah, but would you be effective as well, or would you just be you just wouldn't try to do your job?
No, I would do my job.
Well, you would?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also there's ways that you can do your job. There's different ways that you can do your job.
And
these guys are completely emboldened by an administration that pretty much gives them carte blanche and will protect them.
They have a big job to do, and they haven't come anywhere nearly.
They have a regular job to do. It's an administrative job on the street. They don't need.
It's just like any other job.
It's an administrative job. It's not even like strictly law enforcement in the way that police is. It's just checking someone's papers, putting them in a van.
Who could be volatile and dangerous, and could be ready to resist and kill you at any time because you want to take them out of the country, and you think that's easy, and they've only done a fraction of what they had ought to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be.
Why don't you sign up,
Max? Like, I mean, I used to do door security when I was at university, like, and that was fucking terrifying. Like, I've competed in combat sports. I used to teach tang sudo and jiu-jitsu, and like I'm very competent when it comes to physical conflict with other people. I used to do it for fun. Like, to relegate what these guys do as if they're some sort of like fucking dental hygienist or something. That's not the same thing. It's not just an administrative job. They're given guns and they're expected to go out. Like, we just had this discussion a second ago where we were talking about there are some states which let hardened criminals out.
Dude, these guys are strapped like they're going to war. These motherfuckers are checking IDs and they're strapped like they're going to fight ISIS in fucking Afghanistan. What are we talking about? Of course, if you see a bunch of grunts with like literally military gear with guns here and like what?
So
of course that's going to escalate.
So you
Max,
think do you think the job of the police and ICE and the FBI and all of these other like law enforcement like arms of the federal and state governments can essentially just be done with an email? Excuse me, sir, you're not supposed to be in our country. Would you?
No,
Max, I think you should sign up and show them how to do it.
I never said anything remotely similar. I do think that actual police work is way harder and dangerous than this shit. I think that this situation has got the way that it's been that it is right now because of the way that ICE has escalated all of the tensions everywhere.
Well,
and people
police
are
have to
mad,
deal.
and I would say rightfully so.
Police have to deal with some animosity, but I mean downright like delegitimization like this, like where they're calling you a Nazi and saying your organization is totally illegitimate, and it's not just like a fringe idea. Like this is a large mass of the left.
You don't have the left in the U.S.
Well, whatever you want to call them. Well, whatever you want to call them.
Leftish, call them whatever you like, but they're not. You know, they might be centrists as far as you're concerned, Max, but from the political milieu of the United States, they're on the left. You know, they're not like, you know, French revolutionaries or, you know, hardcore Marxists or anything, but you know, they're on the left, and it does seem that there's a high degree of correlation between the left and wanting a borderless society. And it does seem that, like, even if ICE, let's say, even if ICE was having zero violent confrontations of any kind, like zero, and they were just doing it by post.
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
So even if ICE were managing to do their job with zero violent confrontations, so they were going around and they didn't have guns, they had clipboards, and they were just issuing people with writs, going like turn up to court, and people were actually turning up to court. People would still be mad at them, because the problem is that the reason that they hate them and the reason that they disagree with them isn't because that occasionally they have to get aggressive with people. The reason that people are so shitty and pissed off and upset with them is because they don't want any kind of deportations, whether the person is legal, illegal, or otherwise, because they're all globalists. And they use the occasional violence that does happen when you have to forcibly eject somebody from your fucking country as an excuse to go, hey, look how aggressive and violent these people are. I guarantee you, 100% guarantee you, that ICE is responsible for far, far, far less aggression and far less harm, physical and otherwise, than the violent criminality which makes up a subset of people who are illegally in the United States. The vast majority of them are peaceful and are just out. They're essentially economic migrants looking for a better life.
Yeah.
But the violent part of that illegal migrant community cause more harm, do more damage than the violent part of ICE. It will be orders of magnitude. There are millions of illegal migrants in the United States.
Criminals do bad shit. So what's the point here?
And John, not only what you said, but also they wait for these stories so they can blow them up. They're waiting for these stories so they can inflame the left.
Right, because Trump doesn't do that. Because the government, the U.S. government doesn't have a conglomerate of media that also pushes propaganda for them. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course, but he's also not a globalist either. Trump does seem to be like a patriot nationalist, and I'm not saying, when I say nationalist, like, I believe that nation states have a right to exist. When I say I'm a nationalist, I'm not a quote unquote white nationalist. I'm not an ethno nationalist of any kind. But I do think nations have a right to exist, and they have a right to defend their borders. They have sovereignty, and
Booty call.
Maybe
So-
no, unlikely. There was a delivery I was expecting yesterday evening that's turning up early this morning. But the
Look at this, the middle Safeway. What the fuck is Fox? Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, obviously there's left wing and right wing media. It's like I read there's a couple of British guys. Well, I say British guys. It's Constantine Kissin and Francis Foster. Francis Foster is his parents are his mum's Venezuelan. But my point is they're centrists. But the people on the right call them lefties, and the people on the lefty call them like right-wing fascists. So
and you know what? Because I just thought of this. Yeah, they're being called Nazis. You know why? Because they are putting Nazi slogans on the little podium on press conference. One of us, all of yours. That's a Nazi slogan. Then you have Trump saying that he's going to literally invade and annex a NATO ally. So yeah, it is very similar. So I do understand that they're being called Nazis. And in any case, I still think that through freedom of speech, you should be able to tell the police, fuck you.
But hang on. Why? Again, this doesn't make any sense to me either. Why are they called? Nothing you've just said there indicates a political ideation towards Nazism. Like Nazism was Nazism was National Socialism. So just because somebody invades another country, I mean, China has invaded other countries and they're communist. They're antithetical to Nazism. They're the opposite of Nazis, basically. But they've invaded other countries. So, and like Trump isn't a fucking socialist. He's not a national socialist. He's a nationalist, but he's not a fucking socialist. He's a capitalist.
One of ours, all of yours, is a line from Nazi Germany. It was coined when an SS officer was killed in a Czech village and the Nazis went and killed everyone. And that was on the podium with Kristi Noem on the back.
Sorry, I don't... But why was it on the podium? What was the reason for it being there?
Because they're Nazis.
But also bear in mind, we're also coming off the back of them everybody saying that Musk was a Nazi because he did a Sieg Heil on stage when he was waving at the audience. So I'm not exactly in a high trust mood when it comes to other people telling me what a Nazi is or isn't. People were telling me that the bullets that were used to kill Charlie Kirk weren't some kind of Antifa slogan when they had fucking Bella Ciao written on them. So okay, maybe.
Max, by your definition of a fascist, what makes Stalin not a fascist? Is he a fascist?
Stalin. Hold on, let me. Stalin. That's Russia.
Aren't you the communist?
No, yeah, he was a communist that turned authoritarian. That turned authoritarian and did a bunch of bad stuff. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't. I told you I'm a leftist, but I heavily disagree with like the idea of, for example, expropriating the proletariat or taking their things. I think that you can do it. That you can do it through other means.
Well,
I just don't think the left wing has any good definition of fascist.
The funny thing is,
Sure.
Max, as far as I can tell, his political ideology most aligns with a society in the United Kingdom that were called the Fabian Society. And Keir Starmer was the chairman of the Fabian Society when he was studying law at university. And the Fabian Society's logo, honest to Christ, unironically, if you Google it, used to be a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Pedro says, because it's the only place where they can intercept the missiles from Russia and China that occupy Antarctica, Greenland is needed to create military defense plan, as much as I know. They already have a military base in Greenland. They're an ally. He's talking about invading an ally. And you're justifying it.
He's not going to invade. I don't justify him saying it, but he's not going to do it.
My president is communist. That's why my country is a corrupt shithole. I know very well you don't know nothing about communism. Are you literally insane? Wait, are you telling me? I mean, corruption in Latin America has been ubiquitous for the longest time. It has been on the right, has been on the left. But let me remind you that before Lula, Bolsonaro tried to throw a fucking coup. Like, Pedro, what the hell are you talking about? And I've been a communist since I remember. Dude, my mother raised me. I am lucky that I am not like my mother, because I actually tempered her down. But I always say my mother has called me capitalist pig more than once before I managed to bring her into a more sensible position. So yeah, I know about communism. Like, what the hell are you talking about? All right.
Do you think expansionism through political pressure, if it doesn't result in actual war, is necessarily bad?
In
Shouldn't we
today's
want to
world,
expand?
yes.
Why? In today's world?
Because
what's special?
Because like we have all the countries are kind of laid out.
They could say that about the past. I mean, you're just choosing where you.
Yeah, I don't like conquest and imperialism.
But even if it's not
like
through
autonomy.
Even if it's not through military action.
Yes, I don't think that a country should be able to buy another country, or even an island of another country. Like, that's just. We're in 2026.
It's a very small. It's a very lightly populated place. I mean, it's not like.
Who cares? It's sovereign.
It's not. It's under Denmark.
It's under Denmark, so
Greenland is
it's sovereign to Denmark.
Okay, so
they have their sovereignty.
Their conquest is all right. Their conquest is all right. You know.
Well, either
their conquest happened how many years ago? And of course, it wasn't conquest because people just sailed there and settled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a. Yeah, it's 6:40 on my end. I'm UK, Surrender Monkey. I'm just south of Coventry, so right in the middle. Yeah, sovereignty either stands or it doesn't. It either holds or it doesn't. And like the number of people there should be more or less irrelevant. I mean, the population can bolster a claim, for example, like Gibraltar or the Falkland Islands. They are very, very, very British. Like, there's phone boxes and red post boxes, and like they speak English. They use pounds sterling. It's, Gibraltar, other than the terracotta tiles on the roofs, is very, very much a British place. So to all of a sudden have it being governed by Spain, or the Falkland Islands to all of a sudden be governed by Argentina, just based on the people that live there and the culture that they are, would seem really disjointed. But that's just a nice to have. They are sovereign and they're parts of the United Kingdom, and that's the end of it.
Well, Greenland's first language is Greenlandic, so it's not like they're Danish speakers.
Yeah, so because they don't speak Danish, they don't belong to Denmark?
Whatever belong means.
But I mean,
Greenland belongs to Denmark. Like, what do you mean? Whatever belong means. Belong means one thing.
Yeah, I mean, the Welsh speak Welsh and the Scottish speak Gaelic, and I mean, they're still part of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, but that's totally ridiculous. They're not physically bordering. Denmark doesn't physically border Greenland.
It doesn't
the way Wales and Scotland. There's not a history that's thousands of, a permanent history of being.
Are you insane?
Landlocked.
That's exactly what it is. They have been part of Denmark for the longest time. Hold on. How long has Greenland belonged to Denmark? Denmark.
No.
Has been, oh, fuck my fucking cat. Greenland has been a part of the Kingdom of Denmark since 1721. 300 years.
Not 1953.
What?
I'm seeing two different numbers. It says they were a colony. Colonies are good now.
1721, Danish colonization officially begins with the arrival of missionary Hans Egede.
We're trying to liberate them from their colonial masters.
No, you're not. That is not colonizing. Recolonizing is not liberating. You're contradicting yourself. You can't liberate someone if you're going to actually do the same thing that you're claiming that you're going to stop. That is just insane.
Yeah, it just.
And then, in any case, suppose my country is only 200 years. So does the US have the right? And we also literally cannot defend ourselves whatsoever. We could be conquered by Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Mexico. We could be conquered by almost any country in the world. Does that mean that we don't deserve our sovereignty? Because I don't know what point you were going to make with the amount of time that Greenland has belonged to Denmark. And this is what is inflaming.
Deserve is an interesting word.
What?
Deserve, as if deserve really matters.
What do you mean? What?
Deserve is just an interesting word, as if deserve really matters. I mean, with how powerful and prosperous the United States is, would many countries not actually be better off under the United States?
No. I can go up to my president and call him a fucking motherfucker, hijo de mil putas, and I won't go to jail.
Neither will I.
My president can walk in my country with one security dude that's a fatso. I have the freedom to marry whoever the fuck I want. We have euthanasia laws. We have free and legal free healthcare. We have 97% literacy rate. So no, my country would not be better off with your ridiculous country at the helm. Not by a long shot.
What 2118B? No, 8. Yeah, there are some parts of the UK that are getting some aspects of UK law that are getting a bit dicey, if I'm being honest with you. Most of the consequences for example, spicy tweets and stuff like that has come from like employment, the old cancellation. We have had a few instances over the last few years where people have been imprisoned for saying some pretty innocuous stuff on like Twitter. There's one lady, she got 28 months in prison because after a guy called Axel Rudicabana went to a Ariana Grande themed dance party where a bunch of 9-year-old schoolgirls were dancing and stabbed loads of them, killed 3, seriously injured the instructor, and that preceded a load of protests outside of what were called migrant hotels in the UK. So a lot of the people that are coming across the channel in boats are being housed in hotels in communities, basically. No clue who they are, what their criminal past is. They destroy their documentation, their identification when they come to the country, but they're just housed in hotels and are free to roam around communities. And usually these hotels are in relatively small communities, so they became a focus point of these riots and protests. And this one lady put a tweet out that said, they can burn the hotels down for all I care. Now, she didn't say that you should go and burn them down. She just said you can burn them down for all I care. And what happened was she was arrested, remanded, and they said to her, look, if you plead guilty, you'll get a slap on the wrist and you'll be out by tomorrow afternoon. But if you insist on this going to trial for essentially hate speech, then we're going to remand you, we're going to keep you incarcerated, you're not going to get bail, and it could be 10 or 12 months until you get to your trial date. So they essentially coerced her into pleading guilty, and then they gave her 24 months in prison anyway. Essentially for a spicy tweet. Had she not pled guilty, she'd probably been found not guilty, because another guy said something similar and the jury found him not guilty in 14 minutes. So the attitude of the population is, no, these people can say what the fuck they like and we'll choose whether we associate with them. It's a right of association, but the state should not be putting people in prison for it. So we do have some problems right now.
I will say, John.
Yeah, but that's why did we go on this tangent?
Yeah,
like it's not relevant. I want to talk to the imperialist here.
I will say, John, incitement is where we draw the line in the United States.
Yeah, the
so there are some.
That's messed up, but I don't. The UK doesn't matter today.
All right.
Now, why?
Shoot.
Like, here, for example, someone says, Greenland can be bought just like Alaska. Yeah, the Danish and the Greenlanders said no. So, in principle, if a country would offer to buy a piece of land or whatever to another country, and the government and the people say yes, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But the Greenlanders and the Danish said no. So suck it up. You're not buying Greenland, and if they invade, it's going to be a shit show for everyone. Because I've been thinking about this. The US invades Greenland. NATO goes to war with the US. China says oh, this is my time. China attacks Taiwan. Russia redoubles their effort, goes harder into Ukraine, starts also trying to expand into the rest of Europe. Oh shit, we have a world war again. Nothing of that is like.
No, what about
I'm making stuff up?
I think there's one thing that you've said there, Max. Like everything that follows NATO going to war with the US tracks, follow it completely. NATO don't have the fucking balls to go to war with the US. The US funds NATO, for fuck's sake. What are they going to do? Are they going to call in their mortgages? NATO would not go toe to toe with the US. Not a hope. Not.
I don't know because at a time, look, there comes a time when you have no choice but to fight, and I think that this one would be one of the time. Even if
what a horrible time! What a horrible time!
They would have to fight.
What a horrible time with Russia on their doorstep. They're gonna fight with the U.S. and Russia at once. I mean, we would go ahead and maybe even join Russia at that point. Huh. What kind of nonsense is that?
Did he just say that?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. If you're going to attack us, and Russia attacks you,
of Putin.
No, they licked our balls. They licked our balls. They let us board their ship.
No.
They let us board their ship.
No, Trump is the power bottom.
I don't see them knocking on our doorstep.
Trump
I don't see them knocking on our doorstep.
Trump is the bottom in the Russia-US.
Now, if you say Israel, maybe I'll believe you, but Russia.
No.
Well, it was a difficult call because he could have gone on funding Ukraine is a mess for us. I mean, it costs us so much money. But I'm not particularly fond of Putin and Russia, but the only incentive in that is that we protect Europe. And Europe is not grateful towards us.
You just said we could ally ourselves with Russia. And then you said, I'm not too fond of Russia. Do you know what a contradiction is?
If Europe wanted a war with the United States,
they don't want a war.
Well, they're willing to, apparently. That's what you're saying.
Because you're willing to conquer a sovereign country.
So, are you saying that could escalate into a war? I don't think it will.
Yes,
I think they'll have common sense.
The U.S. would be the bad guy, dude. What the hell?
Bad guy? There are no bad guys, buddy. I mean, this is a real world. This isn't a fable.
There are bad guys in the world. Yes, there are.
Says who? From whose perspective?
If the U.S. attacks Greenland, you're the bad guy.
Attacks? We're not going to attack. I mean, invade is not. We're not going to be shooting the. I mean, there's no army there.
I know that words don't mean words to you people, but an invasion is an attack. The silence of concession.
Well, I wouldn't see that as an attack. I mean, there's no.
Yeah, but you're wrong. An invasion is an attack. You can't invade someone and not attack them, dude. What the fuck are you talking about?
If it did come to that, wouldn't Europe be putting the Greenlanders' life in danger to send their military there?
You are putting the life in danger with the attack.
We're putting the no. You are just surrender. You are
fucking serious?
We have no issue. Listen, I don't think it's going to come to this. I really don't. I'm sure they will figure something amicable out.
Yeah.
But I like Trump is willing to flex our muscles. I like that he's willing to flex our muscles instead of just being this passive country that we just give charity to the world and as our lives get worse and worse and worse. And we're not allowed to flex our muscles when it's us with the largest military.
Mike makes right, correct? So you don't care being the bad guy.
I did not say that.
You did say that.
I didn't. No, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian.
Okay.
I'm not a Christian.
So that's the logical entailment.
You're like,
oh yeah, Trump muscles U.S. America.
What?
So, what's the big deal? What's the big deal with an expansion of the United States?
I already explained it to you. Please keep up.
If it's a minimal, if lives are not lost,
attacking our country is not minimal by any measure.
Attacking.
Yes, dude. I know that you want to sugarcoat it. Invading a country is attacking. There is no way around this. You can't invade, do a peaceful invasion.
I mean, you have a country of like say 8 million people in Denmark that's occupying this Greenland, which is a huge swathe of land, and the Earth is warming. Don't we want to use this for human habitation at some point, or
no?
No.
This is just you're literally inventing whatever the fuck comes out of your ass to try and make the point, dude. This is bad. This is a bad outlook. This is seriously like you're at this point. You're literally floundering. Now you bring up.
That's my opinion.
Now you bring up global warming. Trump doesn't believe in global warming. You can't make that argument. Debatable D says, ask him if the Dutch should have just surrendered to the Germans and they put their country in danger for not surrendering. That question was for you, folks.
Didn't they surrender?
No. We have a filthy fucking liar here. Aiko, Max would rather Russia take Greenland. Nope. Liar. Filthy fucking
Well,
liar.
how is Denmark going to hold on? How is Denmark going to hold on?
NATO?
If Russia wants it, how are they going to hold on?
NATO?
Oh, the U.S., the muscle man of NATO.
You're not the only one with an army.
Who's going to do it? Oh, Ukraine? Huh.
Yeah, I mean, if the US
Right,
decided,
because the only two countries that have armies are the US and Ukraine. Dude, you really came in today here saying that you're a regular caller for the line. Do you get body slammed like this every time you call the line?
The problem with
dude, you're getting railroaded. Every point you make is absolutely asinine.
Well, if the United States wanted to go into Greenland and like militarily, and Greenland enjoys protection from NATO, then obviously there's a large chunk of the NATO assets that would no longer be available to defend Greenland because they are now opposed to essentially anything that the United States contributes to NATO. It's not like the US is going to continue contributing to NATO. However, the European nations that contribute into NATO when it comes to dealing with Russia, I would suspect probably would be able to deal with Russia on their own without US support. I mean, the vast majority of the support that's been going into Ukraine in terms of has come from the United States, the United Kingdom, and Germany. And NATO has had to sort of be hands off because that's really the point of contention. That's part of Russia's justification for why they're doing what they're doing is because they didn't want Ukraine to become a part of NATO in the first place. So it's sort of like independent nations, despite the fact that they're all contributors to NATO. So it's sort of NATO, but not really. So fuck knows what would happen, like geopolitically, if the United States decided to invade Greenland. But I think it's a moot point because it's not going to fucking happen. And if Russia decided to weigh in,
I don't know. Look, in general, one would think that the checks and balances of the government would jump into action the moment that Trump would actually want to mobilize anything towards Greenland. But the problem is that Congress right now is a bunch of fucking pussies, and they haven't stood up to Trump so far. And I have very little faith that they would even actually act. So the only chance you have is that the actual heads of the military say, this is absurd. We're not going to invade a country. We're not going to become neither like Russia or China and like literally become the bad guy overnight. That's the only way I see of this, that the military actually grows a fucking pair of balls and says to the moron in chief, no, we're not attacking an ally. That's an illegal order. We're not going to follow it. That's my only hope so far.
Let's say the U.S. does invade Greenland. Would you want the European nations to fight back and try to repel us?
Yes.
In an ideal world, in an ideal world, yes, because I do believe it is sovereignty,
but he doesn't give a fuck about sovereignty.
And that principle is paramount to me. I mean, historically, I'm very wed to that principle, and it's near and dear to my heart. I mean, we went to war with Nazi Germany because they invaded a sovereign state. We were never really a massive risk from Germany invading the United Kingdom. We could have consolidated our defenses around the Channel, and we most probably would have been okay. But we had a treaty with Poland, and we went to war to defend them and their sovereign right to exist. That was very important. It was important to my ancestors then, and it's important to me now. The problem is, an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us, which I agree with. What was that Nazi phrase that was on the podium that was being talked about before, isn't it? Like,
one of ours, all of yours.
One of ours, all of yours. That sounds very familiar. That's very similar.
No, it's not remotely close.
This is our law enforcement. This is your law enforcement.
It's not even close. One talks about defending your allies, and the other one talks about the extermination of a village when for retribution of the killing of one person.
But
one has nothing to do with sovereignty. The other one has everything to do with like sovereignty and the modern world order that we have now. That I think it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Max, is it all right if I ask a question really quick?
Yes.
So what can I just super quick, Fudge?
Go ahead.
Sorry, Dad. It's just super quick to finish answering to Fudge. My concern would be exactly what Max laid out earlier, just purely from a practical point of view. If the European nations that make up the rest of the bulk of NATO did have to or decide to go toe-to-toe with the United States in order to defend Greenland, even in some small way, I do think there are other countries which would take advantage of that, and that would be to the detriment of all of us, including the United States. So I don't think it's in anybody's... But if the United States did decide to roll troops in, I seriously doubt that NATO is going to start lobbing ordnance at the US.
No, I think that the fight would be over Greenland. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so Champion, so your point was it would be better for Greenland to just surrender so that way there's less fighting and it's not an issue. So on that same logic, would it be better if Mexico decided they wanted to take New Mexico for the United States to just hand New Mexico over?
Dude, he left.
Oh, he left? Oh, of course he did.
That was a great question, though.
I don't understand that logic. So I served in the military, and I definitely am against any invasion of an allied country. That just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You don't stab your friend in the back to protect your other friend. It just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, principally, I am against any action that puts soldiers in danger without a really, really exceptionally good fucking reason. And that's not a good reason. And that's it. End of.
No, I think either that guy was actually trying to be inflammatory on purpose. Because, I mean, look at everything. He tried everything. He even tried global warming, right? So, I don't know. Maybe he was trolling and rage baiting and I fell for it. Or maybe he's just literally that stupid. Because he did say that an invasion is not an attack. So, I don't know. That's why I asked him if he was Christian. Because I guess...
an invasion is most certainly an attack.
Right? Like how you don't invade a country by saying pretty please.
A non-hostile takeover is only a thing in a corporate world.
Yeah.
It does not exist amongst sovereign nations.
Sort of like those are some lovely borders you've got there. Hey, how about shame if anything were to happen to them? How about signing this really shitty trade deal for you? It's that kind of thing that usually happens, and it's usually to do with like mining rights or mineral rights or something like that.
It's very interesting to me from being an American because we fought a whole war with Mexico for a small sliver of Arizona. But people are very much on board with a whole nother country being invaded by us.
Do you know what made me laugh so much about that? It was all the Irish were getting off the boats on the East Coast, and they're all being essentially not technically conscripted, but essentially conscripted because they were like, here, 3 meals a day, etc. And they've been shipped straight down to Mexico to fight. They got down there, they met the Mexicans, and they're like, these guys seems pretty decent. So all the fucking Irish defected and started fighting with the Mexicans, which is
honestly ridiculous. It hurts me. I've always seen, even when I was a kid, that I had just started learning English, and of course you get to watch movies and TV and media in English and all of that. And my mother would take me to the base committee because she was going to she was She was part like an active member of the Communist Party. She campaigned and did, and my parents took me painting walls and putting up signs for the elections and all that shit. And they looked at me weird when I say that I saw the U.S. as like a bastion of, justice and like an example, like a role model, and all the communists would look at me like I was some fucking bug, right? Like I was the enemy. And then it really pains me to see the U.S. falling down this rabbit hole of potentially becoming the worst thing that has ever happened to the world, because it's the biggest army with the most advanced weapons and so on. And the fact that from one day to the next, the U.S. could become what China was, let's say the Soviet Union or what Nazi Germany did. It's pretty sad to me, as someone who really admires the U.S. and who's super Americanized. It is sad and painful. And then you have someone saying like, oh yeah, no, everything would be better. Like this guy, okay, they start with Greenland, then Canada, Mexico, and they keep going down, and eventually it will be America. The whole continent will be the United States of the whole continent of America. That is just insane.
Yeah, and the United States of North America. No,
is this sort of like an all this has happened before and all this will happen again type?
It is.
I hope that Congress actually grows a pair, and if not, I do have a little bit of faith reserved to that the military will go like, yeah, no, we can't do that. But I don't know. There seems to be a lot of sycophants that would really, really like that. So I don't know. And when has Russia said anything about invading Greenland? The only reason that is because Trump claimed it. Right. Russia knows that making a claim or even attempting that would bring down the whole fire of NATO. Oh, he's back. So you might get to ask your question, Dirt.
Gotcha.
He's loading. Give it a second. There we go. Fudge, Dirt wanted to ask you a question.
So yeah, sure. My question to you was, so you're saying that it would be better for Greenland to just surrender to the United States to avoid any conflict and casualties. So would that same thing apply if Mexico wanted to take New Mexico from the United States?
I'm hearing you.
I didn't hear what you said.
I wasn't able to hear most of what you said.
Oh, okay. I can repeat it. So earlier you said that it would be better for Greenland to surrender to the United States, so that way there was no bloodshed and there was less conflict. So would that same thing apply to if Mexico decided that they wanted New Mexico? So would it be better for us to surrender one of our states rather than defend it to avoid the bloodshed?
No, I think there's something fundamentally different between an offshore colony which has little ethnic connection to the rest of your country, when the rest of your country is the United States has varying ethnicities throughout the country. I mean, Denmark is almost all Danish and then some recent immigrants. I mean, there's a clear cultural distinction between Greenland and Denmark. To act like there's not, to act like it's like Germany invading Poland is just insane. I mean, they were defending the. John gave that.
What do you know about Danish and the Greenlandish culture?
So basically, we need to get a couple of Danish people in a hut.
You know, Max. Are you an expert?
Just eating pastries and bacon.
No, I'm not.
And then it's culturally.
But that's why I'm asking you.
The US.
That's why I'm asking you. What do you know?
No,
about
they're distinct. I know they're distinct. I know that they're distinct. Very much so.
In specify.
Ethnically, linguistically, like certainly, I would think in terms of lifestyle.
No.
Oh, it's just like living in Denmark.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They have free healthcare. They have everything that
That's their
Denmark has.
culture. That's a culture.
No, I'm not talking about culture, but they do have free healthcare, and the U.S. doesn't. So that would be a downgrade for them.
Okay, but I brought up
Sorry, one of my kids
linguistically.
came in and talked to me. Can you repeat your response? Sorry about that.
I said there's a great divide ethnically, culturally, linguistically between Greenland and Denmark, and in a way that is not comparable to New Mexico versus the rest of the United States. I mean, the United States has a varying degrees of ethnic identities and demographics throughout the country, but there's a clear divide between Greenland and Denmark. They're very distinct. Greenland is basically its own unique culture, separate from Denmark.
Okay, so I served with plenty of people from Taiwan. So would it be fine for the United States to just sit back and let China take Taiwan?
Would it be fine? I think that unfortunately, I think that it's going to happen at some point. I believe that. I could be wrong, but if China keeps growing as powerful as they are, so I mean, do I want that?
So the question was, would it be fine? I'm not asking if it will happen. Would it be okay?
You're making moral judgments. I don't know. Would I like it as an American? I mean, you think there's an objective answer to that? I mean, I don't think there's an.
I don't think there's an objective. That's going too far. It's very subjective, but I do think that it is wrong for a stronger powered country to take a weaker one just because they can. So that is a sovereign country, and it should be that country's choice if they want to join that larger country. If they have no interest in that, there's no reason that they should be taken by force. I feel like as humanity, we should have grown way past that by this point.
As an Englishman, I feel
what if we
that
send Americans there
my
for
country
a few
has
generations
we have both dangled the economic carrot and sent in the red coats, and both work. I mean, they're effective, but whether they're morally justified is questionable.
And I don't believe in objective morality, and I would think it would be morally wrong to invade a sovereign country. It doesn't matter if they have differences with their main territory, which is Denmark, or whatever lame excuses you gave, like global warming, which Trump doesn't believe in. Like you said, Russia taking it. Russia has never shown any ounce of an interest of taking Greenland or anything like that. China hasn't shown that either. The U.S. already has bases in Denmark. In Greenland.
Oh, and he's gone again.
Must have a bad connection.
No, I feel like that's very weak reasoning, and I hate the objective moral thing. There's no such thing as objective morals. They're all fucking subjective to whichever god or deity or whichever governing body that you want to reference it to. It's all subjective.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's do final thoughts, and we'll be on our way because this is way long, and I'm very sad right now. John, get us started. Final thoughts.
Okay, so first things first. Would I have pulled the trigger? No. Do I think it was reasonable? For me, for my experience, no. I've been run over in the past, and I've been in dangerous situations in the past, and I can't really put myself in the mindset of a person that under that set of circumstances would feel the need or think that cranking off 3 or 4 rounds was necessary. That being said, I'm not a mind reader, and I can't pretend to know what was going through this guy's head, what danger he perceived at the time, and I'm not really prepared to accepts the arguments. People are asking me to not to you know, it's the emperor's clothes, to not believe my lying eyes. He was struck by the vehicle. The stuff about internal bleeding, I don't buy it. You know, you can be hit fairly hard and not end up with internal bleeding. And as you pointed out, Max, technically a bruise is internal bleeding. So to what degree are they taking what may medically be technically true and using it to make it sound worse than it actually was? My skepticism / cynicism does come into play with that claim. I'm not going to lie. I'm not that blind. How not as blind as people would think that they would perceive me to be, given my opinion on this. But yeah, he, like, the video that I played before shows him, his feet are sliding backwards on the tarmac. Unless he's like a world-class moonwalker, he's being pushed backwards by the vehicle. Now, how hard he was hit, it's icy. And the fact of the matter is, at some point, if not necessarily when the trigger was pulled, but within a very, very, very short space of time of him pulling the trigger, he was in front of the vehicle. It was rolling towards him. It did make contact with him. She could see him and was being instructed to get out of the vehicle. And this guy, within the last 6 months, has been dragged down the road and suffered a serious injury whilst he was stood at the side of a car, not in front of one. So taking all that into account, do I think he murdered her? No, I don't think he intended to murder her, and as far as I'm concerned, murder requires intent. I definitely don't think there's no evidence whatsoever that he got up in the morning and went, I just feel like killing somebody today and I'm going to find any justification I can for it. And I think they've got a thankless job, and they're just getting shat on from a great height in all directions. There's a lot of technicality in this in terms of how hard was he hit. Did he need to pull the trigger? All of that, from the perspective of did he murder her, is almost irrelevant. He was hit. He perceived a threat. He pulled the trigger, and she's dead. If she hadn't driven the car at him, it wouldn't have happened. And that's it.
All right, Dirt. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I didn't weigh in on this because I think everybody in the situation is in the wrong. So from when I watched the video, and again, I've only watched, I'm barely got exposed to it today, so I've only watched the video once. But from what it looked like to me, she backed up, and as she went to go forward, the tire started sliding. So she probably was trying to push on the gas to go because she thought the car was stuck. And then, unfortunately, that accelerated into him. So I feel like he panicked because she was getting pressured by them to get out of the car. He pushed on the gas since she was on ice. It moved forward and it hit him. He panicked, shot her. So I feel like everybody in the situation, I feel like it was the perfect situation of bad decisions culminating in the worst possible outcome. So I don't yet know where I stand. I want to look into it a little bit more, but at this point, from what I have seen and what I've read about it, I think both sides were in the wrong. She was instructed to stop the car. She decided to accelerate forward. He did make contact with him. I do not think that justifies him shooting her, though. So I'm kind of in the middle here.
All right. Look, Fudge is back. All right, Fudge, final thoughts, and we'll wrap it up for tonight.
So, Dirt, can I ask, what if we were to send Americans there? Since we're a third world country, we don't have health care. Do you think that Greenland?
You are a third world country, yes.
Yeah. So we Americans should be allowed to live in Greenland and get.
We already have troops in Greenland.
And then we can outbreed them, and then we can vote for Greenland to become a part of America.
Sure.
Okay. What are you playing
that
here?
will take,
in Western Europe.
That will take 50
would be all right.
years, but Go ahead.
No,
Yes,
okay. What are you playing it here? What is your overall point? You're trying
conquest is conquest. Conquest is conquest. That's what's happening in America. That's what's happening in Europe. So I think that'd be fine, right? Because that's through democratic processes.
Where is there conquest happening in Europe? You keep making shit up.
Oh, really? The ethnic populations of Europe are not being replaced.
I mean, they're changing, but all populations change over time.
Yeah,
that's a weird claim.
All populations, through conquest.
Not necessarily through conquest. So
oftentimes, this is.
I might be wrong on exactly which nations they are, but I think it's Mesopotamia and one of the other ones. So they ended up working together, and then their religions merged, and their people merged, and it was not conquest; it was just a merger.
Literally always through conquest. Yeah, there's something called cultural diffusion. Yes, I understand that.
Okay, yeah. So, but to mock everything down to just conquest is kind of ridiculous.
I absolutely think it's conquest because it's one.
Yeah, but you also thought that an invasion wasn't an attack, so your definitions of words really can't be trusted.
It's not an attack, but there are.
An invasion is 100% an attack. You couldn't be more wrong. Google it. Google it right. You know what? I'll do it for you.
I think the invasion, the quote unquote invasion that you're talking about with regards to two cultures intersecting in space and time, very much depends on whether the culture that stood on the ground right now is accepting of it. You know, so for example, in the UK, which gets brought up quite a lot with the quote unquote cultural erosion.
Oh, that's AI overview. Just post the definition. Post the definition of invasion instead. I mean, that would be better.
For the last 25 years, every single election we've had, part of the manifestos.
That's still the AI overview.
Part of the manifestos of the parties that have won political power have all said that they were going to reduce migration, and every single one of them have amped it up at a rapid rate. So, whilst cultural change does happen over time, if it's not with the consent of the indigenous population, then I think you could make the claim that that's an invasion, which is different to just sort of slow cultural change and migration of groups of people, if that makes sense.
The fundamental difference is one is violent and the other one is not.
Yeah,
there's violence there's violence occurring at the behest. There is violence being used on Native Europeans and Americans by new populations. That's a fact. There's Muslim terrorism in Europe. There's Islamic terrorism in Europe. That's not that doesn't. Yes, there is absolutely.
Okay.
We do have a bit of.
Post the latest terror attack in Europe. Go.
Yeah, can you cite some supporting evidence for that, or anything that we could look into to support that?
On the bottom below there, you have a button to share
support
your
what?
screen.
I'm sorry. What's the question?
You keep making stuff up. I proved you wrong. So are you going to concede? Are you going to concede
Islamic terrorism does not exist?
Are you going to concede that an invasion is an attack? I proved you wrong. I showed you the definition.
It doesn't. Hold on.
Are you going to concede that an invasion is an attack? Yes or no?
It doesn't use the word attack.
Oh, for fuck's sake, liar.
It says if they've been attacked. That's the only time I see the word attack.
In geopolitics, an invasion typically refers to a military offensive in which a polity sends combatants, usually in large numbers, to forcefully enter the territory of another polity, with either side possibly being supported by one or more allies. While strategic goals for an invasion can be numerous and complex in nature, the foremost tactical objective normally involves militarily occupying part of all the invaded
We're playing semantics.
Today, if a polity conducts an invasion without having been attacked by their opponent beforehand, it's considered to constitute an international crime and condemned as an act of aggression. Are you going to now concede that you're wrong? You are the one arguing semantics. You're just wrong about what the word means.
I mean,
an invasion is an attack, period. I need you to accept that. I need you to tell me yes.
I think we're playing. It's something like an attack.
It is an attack. You're being really semantical at this point. If someone says there's an invasion of bugs in your house, you're going to consider that an attack of the bugs in your house. Like you're being really semantical. It's
and you're not going to win this argument against me.
If bugs invade my house, is that an attack?
Yes.
Yes. Are they not? So what would you consider it to be if the bugs invaded your house?
I don't know. You would generally wouldn't call it an attack, would you? You wouldn't use that word.
I would call it an attack on my space and my comfort. I 100%.
That's figurative language.
That's not figurative. If I am uncomfortable and they are creating a situation where I'm uncomfortable, that is a direct attack on my comfort.
On your space is figurative language.
Do you have any preference for a dictionary?
If you think that's it, if you want to feel that I'm wrong, then why don't we just leave it at that? Let's agree to disagree.
Okay, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with saying that we disagree on this point.
Difference.
No. I'm not perfectly fine with saying you are wrong. You are completely wrong on this. You can't there is no way. There is no freaking way that boots on the ground on an invasion of another country would not be considered an attack. There is no fucking way. You're just wrong. This is how English works.
Well,
I'm going to ask it again. Is an invasion an attack? Yes or no?
Yes. I mean,
they're similar enough. I don't think they're the same.
They are exactly the same.
No, they're not exactly the same. That's not true because you could have an attack without it being an invasion.
Well, the problem that I have with this is, for example, in the United Kingdom, we have had terrorist attacks that have come from I'm going to make the distinction between Islamists and Muslims, which I think is an important.
You can say jihadis.
Yeah, jihadis.
Islamists and Muslims is the same thing.
Yeah, but what I mean is, I'm trying to find some language that obviously, because Isa, for example,
jihadis is the correct word.
Okay, fine, jihadis. But jihadis are Muslims, and Isa is a Muslim, but he's not a jihadi. Isa is a lovely person, and he would be completely welcome here and would cause no harm in any way, shape, or form. So, the problem that we have in the UK right now is we have just under 40,000 jihadis who are resident in the United Kingdom who are on the counter-terrorism watch lists. They're being monitored. We have 4 million Muslims in the United Kingdom. So that's 1 in 100. And they weren't here 15 years ago. Now, whether they're actively all at the same time engaged in a coordinated attack against the United Kingdom doesn't really matter. Now, I think whilst there might be some technical discussion around the language, that kind of feels like an invasion to me. If I go to a large Muslim wedding, I've got an almost 100% chance of being stood in the room with a jihadi, whereas the rest of the population, for example, in the United Kingdom, instead of that being 1 in 100, which is on the terrorist watch list, it's 1 in 32,000.
So I will actually concede on this point and kind of flip to the other side, because you could have an influx of people from another country as refugees, and that could be considered an invasion of those people, but that is not necessarily an attack. But
right, but this is just semantic nuance. Like you can say there is a pacifist invasion or whatever, or like an infestation, and there is. But I
was going to clarify.
An invasion is an attack in the way that we are describing it when it comes to the U.S. and Greenland.
Yes, so that's what I was going to clarify. But I feel like you got to draw the line anytime a military is involved, because anytime that you begin to move military forces into somewhere, it no longer becomes a passive thing. It becomes a very active. Like, I mean, if Russia started stationing and Mexico, for some reason, started stationing troops directly at our border, we would consider that an act of hostility. But if it was people fleeing from Ukraine to the United States, it's the same general premise, but the context around it changes what it is. So I will concede not every invasion is an attack, but the one that we are talking about with Greenland, that would be considered an attack.
Yeah, if you're talking about like mobilizing troops in, like you've got forward armored columns and stuff, then clearly that's an invasion. That's an attack. You know, we are.
I would consider it an attack once shots were fired.
That gets really. So I would consider. I see what you're saying, because at that point it's crossing another line. But at the same time, if you just continuously keep influxing your military into a space and continuously occupying more and more of it, even though a shot's not fired, you are still like imposing on their economy, their food source, everything like that. So
even if the US took Greenland without firing a single shot, because when the Greenlanders see the US Army disembark, they all surrender at the same time to avoid any bloodshed, that would still be an attack.
Yes, I do agree with that.
Right, I've got to go, guys. It's
we're going to wrap it up.
Really
people, tomorrow.
Good night.
Tomorrow.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. I love your commentary. Thank you.
Tomorrow we have more Wi-Fi gospel. Oh my God! Atheism versus Christianity, which is true, and our friend Leo is going to be debating Wi-Fi gospel.
Neither.
Before we go, make sure to do a social thing.
The answer is neither.
Share, subscribe. I'm doing the sign off. Would you mind shutting the fuck up?
Sure, bud.
Before
Thanks,
we
Matt.
go, make sure to do the social thing is like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, use the corner of your street, and you'll subscribe to Yerba Talks. And that way we can share the lab for the channel. We'll see you tomorrow for that after show with Leo after the debate. Take care. Have a great night. Bye.